Good to go?
Yes.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Shamong Township Committee meeting of September 2nd, 2025. Sue, would you read the sunshine statement, please?
Please be advised that proper notice of this meeting has been given in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act.
Sue, you got younger. You do your roll call, please, Lisa?
Mr. Diamond,
Here.
Mr. DeCroce,
Here.
Ms. Mazitis,
Here.
Mr. Wilkinson,
Here.
Mr. Woods.
Here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd ask you rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before you sit down, folks, I just want to have a moment of silence. Last evening, as most of you have probably heard, we had a fatality on Adsign Road up by the lake. And John and Teresa Hawley from Marlton, our neighbors who were visiting Wharton State Forest, were killed. So I'd ask for send out your prayers and thoughts to them in a moment of silence. Very much, and I want to acknowledge all of our firefighters and EMS that were present on the scene. I understand the two other people in the truck, along with the dog, were all okay. The people that were killed were in a small Toyota, which went into Adsign Lake. So our boating crews were there, dredging to make sure that no one else was there. So we appreciate what you guys and gals did. All right, thank you. But before we open the meeting to public comment, which we usually do at this point, I would like to acknowledge the presentation on the Eagle Scout project by Matthew Riley. Matthew, come on up. I understand that Matthew has the first day of class tomorrow, so we'd like to get him. What time do you have to get out the door, by the way?
I have to be there at the bus stop at 7.
Okay, 7 o'clock. All right, good for you. Well, Matthew, the floor is yours.
So I've
Talk up loudly so everybody can hear you.
gone to my committee meeting for my Eagle project. They approved it, and I've come here to give you guys an update on what's happening. I know previously I said we're going to do it in September, but the council is not meeting till September 30th. So after tonight, I'm going to send it to my committee leader, Mr. Doherty. He's going to sign it and send it off to council. And after it gets approved, I'll start getting the donations and sponsors from businesses and around town, and I'll set the order in for the plants and I'll get them in the ground as soon as possible.
Okay, if Mr. Doherty gives you a tough time, let me know.
Okay.
That's number one. And number two, why don't you tell everyone what you're planning to do, since a lot of the people weren't here, your original comments.
So I plan to plant plants around the garden beds at the municipal building, just to fill in the space and make it look beautiful.
That's great. Thank you, Matthew. Anybody have any questions or comments? Mom, would you like to say anything?
The second week of October.
That's a great time, yeah. Maybe our drought will be over and
Yeah.
we'll get some rain. Thank you, Matthew.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. We
Thank you.
appreciate you. Just a couple of quick comments. Tax payments were delayed, as you know. For those of you who pay your own taxes, the payment date is now the 16th of September. So you have until then. If you don't pay by then it retroactively goes back for interest payments. So make sure that's on your calendar. The delay was getting late numbers from the state, and so they're now out, and I think everyone's gotten their tax bills. A quick update on Woodgate Road. This is the street where we are having some issues with some alleged criminal activity and some zoning violations. I understand that the last several weeks have been very quiet, that there have been no issues. There was an arrest and I believe a conviction of one of the members of the household, and the individual violations or alleged violations on the property themselves are still pending, as one of the occupants was either allegedly incarcerated, or seeking some type of medical intervention. So, but the good news is that things on the street have been quiet, I think, for the last 3 weeks or so. So I'm happy to report that. There are some volunteer forms which we've laid out up front, 3 different ones. One is IMMA, the second is EMS, and the third one is the Indian Mills Volunteer Fire Department. If anybody has any time or inclination, we would ask that you come up, give your name and your phone number and your address, and the appropriate people will come out and reach out for you to see if they can plug you in on some volunteers. I'd like to give you an update as to what's occurring, as I know this is a big concern about what's occurring with the EMS. First of all, if we can get Shamong EMS back in place, that would be what I'd like to see happen. I believe this all starts from the governor and what we have going on in Trenton, who are voting more and more to put greater restrictions on these men and women who are trying to do their jobs. We've had volunteers forever. So what's happened is now, because of the restrictions, the young people trying to come on and to volunteer their time, they've got to do how many hours, John, before they can do something active?
Depends on the agency. Could be hundreds of hours.
Yeah, so it's hundreds of hours, thousands of dollars. When I did the Explorers when I was 17, you walked on, you had a mentor, and you did meaningful stuff. So, for example, that's right. Yeah, it's really made it restrictive. So that's number one. Number two, when your turnout gear is of a certain age, it could be absolutely fine. You got to take that gear and replace it, which are thousands of dollars. And that goes from boots and helmets and coats and fire trucks. So you see communities in New Jersey that are selling their fire trucks and their equipment to the states down in the South or Mexico. And then we're having to buy a new fire truck, which, for example, we're buying a fire truck for $777,000, which is going to come online in another year or so. That's what I believe is the overreaching factors that are affecting what we're seeing. So now we have, instead of volunteers, you have paid fire crew. And you, for example, Shamong had all volunteers. Adjoining towns started having paid personnel. And it's only natural that people are going to say, well, if I'm going to do this work, I'll go there. And so there was a lot of movement going on from our previous volunteers now getting paid. And that's a problem. And the third thing I want to say is I'm appreciative of what you all have done. You've done your entire lives. You have put yourself out. And this is an unfortunate situation about what's occurring in our town. On May 4th, 2021, we entered into a shared service agreement with the Tabernacle Rescue Squad. Many of the members are here tonight to provide emergency management services to the residents of Shamong Township. On October 1, 2024, the Tabernacle Rescue Squad and Hampton Lakes Emergency Squad attended the Shamong Township Committee meeting. Mr. George Jackson is here tonight from Tabernacle Rescue Squad, presented a lengthy proposal to create a regional emergency management squad managed by Tabernacle and Hampton Lakes. This regional EMS would provide service to Shamong, Southampton, Tabernacle, and the surrounding Pinelands region. George Jackson, TRS chief, did inform the committee he was projecting an annual cost to Shamong of $100,000, which was approximately 3 times the cost Shamong Township was currently paying for the same service. Mr. Jackson also stated that there was a reserve of $750,000 to get the operations up and running. Since that time, Shamong Township did not receive any material additional information on the proposed regionalized plan. On July 15, 2025, Shamong Township received a year-to-date, June 30th, 2025, summary report from Tabernacle Rescue stating that 232 out of 700 calls, that's approximately 33%, dispatched to the TRS had no crew or partial crew for the reporting period. This was alarming to us and a stark increase from the calendar year of 2024, when Tabernacle Rescue averaged approximately 2 no crew calls per month. Tabernacle Township advised Shamong Township of its intent to terminate its relationship with the Tabernacle Rescue Squad. Without Tabernacle Township, Tabernacle Rescue Squad would not have a facility, and Shamong is unable at this time to provide a facility. On August 5, 2025, Shamong Township authorized the termination of the existing shared service agreement with Tabernacle Rescue Squad and provided the contractual required 90-day notice of termination per the contract terms. Tabernacle Rescue Squad received this notice on August 6th. The Shamong Township Committee is within its rights under the existing contract. The committee terminated the shared service agreement as it found it was in the best interest of the Township of Shamong, its residents, and the public at large. The public should be aware that Tabernacle Rescue Squad entered into a shared service agreement with Lumberton Township in February 2023 for ambulance service to provide full ambulance coverage for Tabernacle and Shamong residents. TRS terminated their agreement with Lumberton Emergency Services as of December 31, 2024. As Shamong Township was receiving the benefit of Lumberton Township through our existing agreement with TRS, the residents of Shamong were also impacted by this action. Shamong Township is not aware of any new agreements TRS may have in place to replace the services they lost when they terminated its agreement with Lumberton Emergency Services as of January 1st, 2025. Shamong Township provided 3 fully equipped ambulances to Tabernacle Rescue Squad in May 2021 per the agreement that we had. Under the terms of the contract, Tabernacle Rescue Squad has received the required 90-day notice to return these ambulances. As a result of the significant decline in TRS's maintenance of sufficient crews to meet volumes, it was decided, after we met with Lumberton, Southampton, and Tabernacle officials, to end the agreement that we had with Tabernacle. Collectively, these 4 townships met to determine the best approach to ensure timely EMS coverage for Tabernacle and Shamong Township. Ultimately, the 4 townships agreed to pursue a shared service agreement to provide around-the-clock emergency service coverage to Shamong and Tabernacle Townships, provided by Lumberton EMS and Hampton Lakes EMS, which is Southampton. In the shared services agreement, Shamong and Tabernacle Townships will each provide an ambulance. These 2 ambulances will be housed at the Tabernacle Emergency Management Building located at 134 New Road in Tabernacle, along with office space for their administrative tasks. By maintaining the 2 staffed ambulances in Tabernacle, we anticipate that response times will be reduced as staff will already be in the Tabernacle Emergency Management Building, if not already serving the community in their EMS capacity. It's important to note that we will continue to cover balance billings so that Shamong residents never receive a bill for the portion of the ambulance cost their insurance does not cover. That's called balance billing. Shamong Township paid Tabernacle Rescue Squad more than $26,000 in 2023 and $21,000 in 2024 for balance billings, which means our residents did not get a bill that was not paid for by their insurance. We also funded length of service award programs, which is called LOSAP, payments to our volunteers who live in Shamong while serving on the TRS at the cost of more than $6,000 for 2023 and more than $4,000 for 2024. The average assessed home in Shamong Township is valued at $311,000 and pays $308 per year in local purpose tax to run Shamong Township. So when you think about your tax bill and think about how much is going to Shamong, it's $300, and that's what we run this town on. We take pride in maintaining one of the lowest tax rates in Burlington County. $300 per year is just over 3% of your annual tax bill for Shamong Township, which is why I usually say we run this town on a nickel on the dollar. So we also have lots of state mandatory requirements. funding over $2 million in road improvements over the past 6 years in Shamong without grant funding, maintaining our public works equipment past the useful life, and snow removal, which I'd say is one of the best. You drive from here and go into Medford, it's like you're on an ice rink, although I think they've gotten better. We have the purchase of a new fire truck, which I indicated earlier, in excess of $777,000, which is coming out partially from the men and women who volunteer, partially from the money that you're going to give John Lyons, raise your hand, who's selling raffle tickets tonight. We would ask you to support him. As I indicated earlier, there's a sheet up here if anyone wants to volunteer. Please state your name, phone number, and address, and we'll get in contact with you. We also run the town, maintenance of our municipal parks and recreational areas, increase cybersecurity and building security measures, annual financial report to the Indian Mills Volunteer Fire Company, and annual financial support for community EMS. The ultimate focus of the township is to ensure that when our residents need an ambulance, we are going to do everything feasible to ensure that that call is being answered with the optimum response times. The steps taken by Shamong Township relative to emergency services for our residents were necessitated by our interconnection with Tabernacle Township on the issue, and after extensive and careful consideration and meeting with those parties here in open meetings, and also behind closed doors with them, and also many conversations and meetings. And after careful consideration of what is necessary to serve the public good, that is why we are taking the action we are this evening. So anybody on the dais have anything to say? Okay, at this point, I'm going to open up the meeting to public comment. And Shamong is one of the few towns where we have no restrictions on the time. We ask you come up, just be respectful of your neighbors and everyone's time. State your name and you will be heard.
Anastasia Zaccaro, 1 Stony Creek Court, Shamong, New Jersey, 08088. I would like to
Good
point out
evening.
you took 20 minutes of public comment time to make that statement, which is a little late.
Good evening and welcome.
So I like to say that the heartbeat and the grit of every community is evident within its people, and we could see that right here this evening with all of the first responders that are here, these heroic heroes. I was present at that August 5th meeting, where after the public portion of that meeting had ended, you, Mr. Mayor, along with the rest of committee, broke for a behind closed doors action to go into executive session. It was labeled by Doug, our solicitor, as contract negotiations. I will highlight that. I would also like to highlight that at the beginning of that meeting on August 5th, the entire committee presented John Lyons, a very heroic individual with our Indian Mills Volunteer Fire Company, what you claimed was or labeled as a proclamation. In that proclamation, it highlighted the heroic efforts of many first responders who actually responded to the mine spung fire earlier in the summer. Number 9 in that proclamation was highlighted the Tabernacle Rescue Service. Now what I would like to do is to state what actually did happen. You took a private meeting, which included the public safety and well-being of this entire community that you serve as mayor, behind closed doors on August 5th. You had known that this was going to be an issue since October of 2024, almost a year ago. So now you're giving public comment today, almost a year later, when we were never notified of this. The entire community of Shamong, as well as the rest of the communities in the region that TRS services. I find that to be appalling and unacceptable. You took everyone's health and well-being. You did it in secret and concealed it from all of us. You never once asked for the public to in any way convene stakeholders, be a part of a conversation, get the hospitals involved, get members from TRS, get our own EMS, our fire department involved. Nobody from the community was ever involved in this. And I do find that to be disgusting because I live in this community. My family lives in this community. Family and friends of mine live in this community. And for 1 year, you remain silent. But I would like to read this, what you did come out and make public statement about. So, this is your personal comment. You actually made this. We have some undesirables now in Shamong, declared Mayor Michael DeCroce during an August 5th, that meeting, Shamong Township Committee meeting. So as I have indicated several months ago, lock your doors, lock your sheds, put up a motion sensor camera, and call the state troopers if you see something going on, the mayor added. This was all due in part because you had noticed an individual that you labeled as unsavory wandering around in your law office parking lot with a laceration on his head. You called the state troopers, they were dispatched, and apparently the individual was gone. You did this in a matter of days of that incident happening. So I'm trying to wrap my mind around how you held on to our health and well-being here in this community for almost a year and remain silent. Once again, I find that appalling. This was a calculated move to take that meeting into executive session. I understand that you read this statement for the better part of 20 minutes, declaring all of the minutia, all of the fine details in a business agreement. Well, my life and the well-being of others in this community is not a contract negotiation. And you're a leader. Leaders actually run. They confront the situation head on, like these heroes and these leaders do. They come to us at our weakest. They come to us in the most dire of situations. And yet you chose to go behind closed doors and conduct this meeting. Never once making it public, never allowing any of us to weigh in. Well, I'm weighing in now. I'm weighing in for the entire region that these fine folks represent and are dispatched to. Like I said, at times when we are at our worst and our weakest. And in the wake of the tragedy that occurred last night right here in Shamong, I'm imploring the committee to rescind that vote. Because apparently now you're telling us that you have a plan. You're telling us now on this night, this meeting, when all of this has come to a head, that you now have some way of dealing with this. The fact of the matter is you remain silent and you conducted this meeting behind closed doors. The health and well-being of this entire community. I do find this appalling.
Thank
I
you.
do.
Anybody else want to say anything else? Yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Maria Gallagher
Well,
from Hollybush. Okay. First of all, I want to commend the EMS workers. My husband served in the EMS for 10 years. I reside with two elderly individuals. My husband is a diabetic and has a neurological disorder. My daughter has hypogammaglobulinemia, meaning her immune system doesn't work, and I have lupus. So everybody in my house relies on EMS. Now, luckily, and by some miracle, we haven't used the EMS service in a year. So, however, I was aware, and we were aware of the increased response times after we did join. We lost our own team, and we joined in with Tabernacle. And it had nothing to do with you guys. You guys are fabulous. Okay, it's just what it is. However, I certainly hope that whatever your plan is, and I heard some of your plan, and I understand it's difficult to get volunteers these days, I understand that it's difficult because of the cost. I was not aware of the cost that the governor, so maybe I need to send him a letter. But I would like to say that I certainly hope that the plan is put in order, and I think it is ridiculous as a former educator and knowing how meetings work, that the meeting was done behind closed doors the way it was. That was not right. My mother, who is actually the owner of the house, and we all reside with her due to our disabilities, okay, just got a $700 increase in her taxes. She pays over $12,000 because her house is valued over $700,000. Okay. The only way we could live here is because we live together. Okay. However, we don't get any trash service. She has to pay for trash, right? As an educator, I understand the increase of needs for the teachers who should be getting paid more to be getting paid, and the whole cost of running a town. I could see that in my head. Okay. However, EMS is a vital service. I don't know if maybe we need to do something to recruit more people. All I could say is you would not want a lawsuit or several lawsuits because response times are going to possibly increase. I certainly hope that's not the case. And that's basically what I have to say. Thank you.
Melissa. Thank you. Anybody else have anything to say?
Bill Gratch from Shamong, 59 Meadowview Court. Full
Hello, Bill.
disclosure, I was a member of Tabernacle Rescue Squad and I was one of the remaining members of Shamong EMS with Dave, but I don't think we're capable of carrying that load anymore. I'm not here in official capacity from LES. I'm here as a member of LES to explain some of the things that we've seen and heard through our management. Lumberton, I work at Lumberton EMS. I've started working at Lumberton EMS back in 2022 when Lumberton started to run the shifts here in Tabernacle. I was one of the primary runners in Tabernacle for the 2.5 years that we were here. I will say, I do want to say that Lumberton is a full-time dedicated staff to EMS. Not only to the EMTs running the show, but also to the leadership within the group. We have a great hiring, onboarding, training, and quality assurance program. And a lot of our EMTs that run are all seeking higher medical level degrees, paramedics, doctors, lawyers, physician's assistants. So we have a really solid group of folks on board. In fact, we have some people who live in Shamong and Tabernacle and neighboring Southampton who are nearby in case it needs to be. All crews are in-house. We run in-house. We were dispatched from the station. I did mention that we do have some local people, but I also want to kind of talk about some of the social media things that have come around that really aren't quite true. And I feel I could speak to this because I was involved in the work at that time. For the 2.5 years that we were in the Tabernacle Rescue Squad building, we ran out of that building. There was comments made in social media, and I don't have Facebook. I don't have any of that. So this is what I'm being told. There were comments made that they saw the truck outside of town running in other towns to support Lumberton. That's not true. 90% of the calls that were responded to in Shamong and Tabernacle were responded to from Shamong and Tabernacle. We have the numbers to support that. We did have trucks in Lumberton. We would have our basic truck that handled Lumberton, and they had what they called a power truck. It was kind of a floating truck that could support other towns, other needs as needed. Transport times from Shamong and Tabernacle are very long. So I will be out of the town on a call maybe over an hour and a half. That Lumberton truck would slide down to provide coverage for us. It would slide down to provide coverage for Southampton because at the time we were the second into Southampton as well. So we were trying to cut that distance to improve that response time. So really, it couldn't be any further from the truth that the truck was out and about in other towns. There was a comment about Hainesport, picking up Hainesport. I think the fact that we picked up Hainesport really supports your decision as to what you decided to do. Hainesport did an independent study, I forget the name of the company, but they came back and recommended Lumberton to go into that town as well. I guess very similar circumstances. I don't know the decision-making that went on in Tabernacle Township or your committees. I don't know what that is. All I know is what we were asked to do. We did the Hainesport thing. Hainesport gave us a truck and we provided the crews. We were able to ramp up quickly because of the nature of our staff. We had enough people on board and we could onboard people very quickly to do that. So that's working very well. And I'm one of the people that sits in Hainesport 3 days a week for some reason. There was comments about a power play that Lumberton wants to take over the EMS in this area. That's not true as well. We didn't learn about it as Lumberton EMS. We didn't learn about it until we heard about it through Lumberton Township. We didn't know what was happening. We didn't realize this was going on. When the decisions were made, they came to us, this is what we need you to support, and that's what we started to do. Again, and I'm going to speak for, kind of the staff, and I see one of my fellow EMTs in the back from Lumberton. They're really good people. Their mission is to provide the best patient care possible. That's what we look to do. That's what our training is about. That's what's reinforced to us constantly. So that's a given what we're going to do here. I understand the agreements aren't finalized. There's still things to be worked out. And, the chief of Southampton and the chief of Lumberton are looking to make sure that any gaps, anything that could possibly go wrong is addressed and taken care of. So that is an ongoing thing as I was understood. Now I'm not Lumberton right now. I'm an EMT in the state of New Jersey. And I just want to kind of comment on just some of the social media posting. It's great that when an agency can kind of say how well they're doing. It's good to hear, that's good to see. But trying to leverage a tragic event in someone's life where life has been ruined to seek empathy and sympathy is just wrong. And I would hope that stops. I don't think that's appropriate. Comments have been made to me by nursing staff, doctors, and other EMTs that if have anything to say over this, try to get that message across. So I thought I would take this opportunity to do that.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate you.
One question for you, Bill, because there's also some disparity that's been about the 30%. And I know where that number came from because I've been aware of this. So if it's listed on a report that there's a partial crew, that ambulance can't get out of the barn because it's a partial crew, is that correct?
Yes, I put the reports together, and long story short on that was my business background says, how do you know you're getting better? Well, you got to understand what you're doing. So I changed the reports going back into 2024 that when a call couldn't be met, it was classified as either no crew or partial crew. No one was available, or maybe one person was available. With the thought being that over time, as we improved, we could see that. And so someone called us out on it and said, are you getting better? Yes, here's the evidence that we're getting better. So that's what that report means.
Okay, and then when mutual aid responded, that's just a normal thing. There might be another.
Mutual aid responded, first rig truck is out, maybe a second rig truck is out.
That's
And
just a
then
normal
there
operation.
wasn't a second or third crew to go.
Right,
So it was categorized as mutual aid responded to the
okay,
call.
so if we look at no crew calls for the first 6 months of 2025, you had 224 calls for Tabernacle Rescue that weren't made. Partial crew, they would also knock it out for the call. That was another 8. So we're talking about 232 out of the 700 calls that were made during that time period.
That's what's on the report, yes.
Okay, that's just clarification. Thank you.
Bill, can you shed some light on the fact when a call is made and 2 or 3 ambulances are sent, and does that occur often where you have, multiple rigs and then you get another call somewhere else and they're already allocated to the one incident?
Quite often.
Is there a way to get around that by trying to solve that issue with either the dispatch or
I'm not following you, Mike.
Are you able to, instead of having 3 ambulances, you only have 1 person that's injured? And then the other, you get another call and say they're already dispatched.
It's typically the crew on scene will make that decision that they're not needed.
Right,
And I think everyone does a pretty good job of that, as to not tie up resources.
right, okay. All right,
If I'm not needed, I'm gonna go available. I may stay there to help, to lift. They'll stay and help us to lift. But if a call comes in, then they can go.
okay. Thank you, Bill. Anybody have any questions?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Anybody else have any questions or comments? Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Jason Ludowitz. I live in Tabernacle. Thank you for having me here.
Welcome.
A couple comments I'd like to make and a couple questions if you'll respond. I don't know if you do. I've never been to one of your meetings. First comment I have is I listened to your recording from your last meeting, and I question whether the actions you took after your executive session were legal. The reason I say that is you came out of the executive session, you took your resolution, you voted on the resolution to disband the contract with TRS. And then you said, oh, let's see if there's anybody in the hallway who wants to attend the rest of the meeting. Sounds to me like you were actually voting probably in an extended executive session. I don't know if that vote was legal. I'll leave it to your lawyer to discuss with you whether you think it is. And if it was not, then I'm pretty sure you have not given TRS the requisite 90-day notice. Obviously, you can rectify that or remedy it, but just keep that in mind. I don't know your legal standing there. Second question I had is, Mr. Mayor, you made comments tonight that came from your letter that you had published openly, I think it was on the 13th, as well as comments that were made at your last meeting that you'd spoken with members from Tabernacle, including behind closed doors. At that point in time, as of when your letter was published, Tabernacle had made no public comment whatsoever on this issue. In fact, nobody even knew this was being discussed. Not only that, they had obviously not taken any action whatsoever. You made it pretty clear that Tabernacle had committed to disbanding with their contract with the TRS. I would like to know who you spoke with, in what context they were making statements. Was it written? Was it as part of those meetings? When was it said? Who said it? Because frankly, Tabernacle has given us no information. So anything you could give would be helpful. Hang on, I took notes. I hate as I'm getting older, I have to take more notes. Okay, yeah, so okay. Third, you mentioned in your letter and again tonight that Shamong and Tabernacle will both house one ambulance at the EMS building on New Road. Is that 24/7 with duty crews 24/7 to staff both? Is that 9 to 5, Monday to Friday? What details, please? But in addition, it's my understanding, and the guys from the TRS could probably back me up on this. Tabernacle Township doesn't actually own any ambulances. All of the ambulances that are in use today, I believe, are owned by TRS. Whether they choose to give the ambulances to the township or not, that's up to them. I'm not stepping in the middle of that. But right now, if Tabernacle has committed to you guys that they're going to staff an ambulance, they don't have one. So you might want to rethink who you're talking with here over in Tabernacle. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Appreciate your comments. Anybody else have any questions or comments? Welcome. Hi, what is your name?
Julian, see, I'm up the street on Stokes.
Hi, Juliana, welcome.
As we can all see, I'm clearly one of the youngest people here. I was in an accident in 2019. I had TRS respond to my accident when I was a Seneca senior. Knowing that one of my teachers could respond to me was actually a major comfort in that accident, because I have no memory of that. And knowing that we might be crewed by somebody who doesn't know us is kind of honestly distressing, because you don't know if you have somebody who can comfort you because they know you and they know what the right thing to say is in, say, an anxiety attack, a panic attack, something distressing. Like Mr. Crusoe said, we are in our most distressing, vulnerable moments that you do not want to deal with. So, and a lot of numbers are getting thrown around, and I don't understand the details because a lot of what's being said is dispatch issues. So, why aren't there further details on this, and why was this a closed session when it was known for that long? Because some of us had to find out from social media, which is a saying, because I've looked. There's really no official social media for Tabernacle or Shamong or anything. It's individuals, but there's no official social media. So why do we have to find out from people on just a random Facebook group or in the community who are in prime position to say something? That's kind of an issue, and it shows that this committee and Tabernacles committee are making decisions to keep people in the dark, and it shows of potential issues that could indicate corruption and, quite honestly, dishonest dealings. And that's not okay, especially in this situation where you are making the choice to potentially overburden an already overburdened system, which does not make sense. So why would you choose to overburden an already overburdened system? We already live 25, 30 minutes from the nearest hospital, if not longer, depending on where in the town you are. The paramedic trucks, you want to go to private? It took me 6 months to see a virtual paramedic truck. I have not seen any other paramedic trucks. State troopers, they take 35 minutes to an hour to respond to certain situations, even if you're not that far. We have had certain state troopers in private comments say, oh, we'll not come out to you. This regional system does not work. Having people who know the area, know the people, and know the situations makes it a lot better when having people who aren't familiar just increases the chances of more mistakes, even with all the training in the world. So.
Thank you, Julianne. Yes, sir. Good evening.
Bill Ryan, 1 Stony Creek Court, Shamong. Clearly won't be as eloquent as this young lady here. So just to recap, last month when I was here, I pointed out that I found it pretty bad that you went in executive session behind closed doors to vote to give the fire department more money, not as much as they needed, but there wasn't even a public discussion about it. You went back there, you said, we're going in, and then you come out and said, okay, we're giving you 15,000. You need 35, but we're giving you 15. That same meeting, you label this as a contract negotiation. You leave, and I also listened to the notes. You did come out, you joked about going in, no one was here, because we all assumed it was a contract negotiation relating to an employment situation as you're having people transition from different roles. Then you come out, you make the announcement. That was on August 5th. August 11th, Tabernacle meets. They do something very similar behind closed doors, and it leaks out. So on August 12th, there's a bunch of social media posts talking about this. And then somehow on August 13th, you post a statement on the website, which wasn't the easiest thing to find, by the way. So you go on for this, and still from August 13th till today, there has been no comment from this committee. There has been nothing. As a matter of fact, Tabernacle had a meeting the end of the month. They were supposed to have a meeting to talk about this issue. And suddenly they didn't have a quorum. Because I was there. Thankfully, TRS said, hey, we'll at least entertain public comment. So we went over there. Not one member of this board or executive team was there to find out what's going on. Because according to the newspaper, Mike, your comment is, I want to go back to the way it was. Well, guess what? We can't go back in time. And last I checked, Shamong EMS has a $180,000 fine still sitting out there. Because I checked. It's still on the books. You want to blame the governor? You want to blame, I don't care who you want to blame. Your job is to represent this town. It's not to represent and keep pointing the fingers at everybody else saying it's their fault. Things are tough. And I've been in healthcare for over 20 some years. It has gotten completely different than what it was. But I've also been involved in a lot of mergers. And I know that the fact you can't just simply walk out and say, we're going to change this company for somebody else. There's licensing agreements. There's permits that need to be secured. CMS needs to approve things. What are you going to do when your deal isn't done and somebody on Medicare has to be transported? Those licenses may not exist. The permission may not exist. The radios, by the way, the radios actually belong to the county. Because after 9/11, when we had the fiasco with everybody having different radio systems, the country said, you know what, we're going to invest in this. We're going to make sure everybody is on the proper systems. And it comes through the county. So that's not even property that you have. But what I do find amazing is when I went to Tabernacle that night, there was at least 6 ambulances there. And I think a couple were out, I'm not sure. But there was at least 6 vehicles there. Now you're telling me my life is going to get better because you're going to improve services by giving me 1. I'm going from 6 to 1. Oh, and by the way, Lumberton is 30 minutes away on a good day. So if that 1 is tied up, I have another 30 minutes. The average time to go in Burlington County, according to the state mandate, is 16 minutes response time. Or 15 minutes, I'm sorry. Burlington is actually at 16 right now. So they're above what they need to be. But the fact that you can have these conversations and not once say, we brought in the EMS people because the Tabernacle EMS director was never notified of what was going to happen. Now, I can't yell and scream at the people at Tabernacle for being, behind closed doors, but you represent us. This is your community. You're supposed to be looking out for us. It's pretty clear to me, all due respect, the Lumberton deal is a business deal. They are a $1.1 million operation. The president's making $80,000 a year. So if you want to go to this volunteer direction, not the right direction to go. These guys are running about a $300,000-$400,000 operation. They could use some extra support, and that should be something, instead of trying to kill them off, you should be trying to find ways to enhance them. So for Lumberton, it's a business deal. For Tabernacle, it's clearly a land grab. Because just so coincidentally, the same night that this meeting was supposed to happen in Tabernacle, the discussion about an RFP going out to redesign their building. It's the same time that Tabernacle Town Hall, which was a fiasco for the last year and a half, that they had an uproar about, is not being able to, you can't use it. Now, there's a simple solution. Let's kill off the rescue squad. We'll put one unit here. I will put another one in for the town. Where do the other 5 go? Who cares? We'll redesign the space. We now have a town hall. Well, that's great for them. And it's great for Lumberton that they're getting more business in their EMS. Who the hell's standing up for Shamong? That's your job.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything to say? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Marco Hancock. I live at 21 Cradmore Drive.
I'm Marco.
Shamong. So I guess I just had some points that I feel like a lot of decisions have been made and no information has been given. And there isn't, in Tabernacle, supposedly there was a committee which didn't even have Tabernacle Rescue Squad as part of the committee. Where is our committee? Who's making these decisions? We have one person making the decisions that doesn't even have backgrounds, or a group of people that doesn't have backgrounds, possibly. And looking for my notes. We're hearing about this 33%, but once again, as you know, like, number's just a number. How many times have we gone out on calls for other townships? How many, like, what is that 33%? Like you talked about, what.
We were just looking at it in relationship to the prior year, which it was a fraction of that, that's why.
Okay,
So
so it's a fraction of it. Maybe we don't have the support that we did the year before. So let's just disband it all together and assume that Lumberton's gonna come in and make it better. What was Lumberton's percentages? They're also paid. Why aren't we just, if we're gonna go to paid, why aren't we paying these citizens that have been working in our community? I just don't understand. I don't feel like it's been clear that we have looked at all the options, or that we have thought about all the options. I don't know if Shamong's hands are tied because of Tabernacle's decision, but we should never feel that our hands are tied at the base of other towns' decisions. Where was our process? Where was our process? Why weren't we a part of the process? You're not talking about trash pickup. You're talking about people's lives. It's important. And I would hope it's as important to you guys as it is to us that live here. But I feel like you're just making a flippant decision by going with the next shiny penny. You know, where is the evidence? Where is the proof that it's gonna be faster, that they're not gonna miss calls? We don't have any of that. You know, you can't make that decision in 90 days. And if it's been going on longer than that, why weren't we aware of it? Why aren't we part of that decision? We live here. Maybe people will be willing to pay more money in taxes to have a service, you know, but you never gave us the choice to ask that of us, I don't think. I mean, maybe I don't understand the process, but I don't feel like that there was a process. I feel like it was like, okay, well, we're just not gonna do it and we're gonna go with Lumberton and that's it. Where was our choice in that? You know, are they gonna have staffing in, was it 70 days, 60 days? How many days left do we have? Whatever. Are they gonna have full staffing for all of those buildings? He says it's a quick process. Is it that quick? Where are these people coming from? Who are they? Because I know my son's been volunteering and that's great and well, and it's not about him, but he can't even get into the programs to get trained. So like, where are these people coming from? And then you're making this decision based off of something that's not even signed off on. And what happens in those 60 days when it's not signed off on? We just don't have any service? I mean, to me, you put the cart before the horse. Like, you didn't, it's not done. You should have those things in place before you give somebody a 90-day notice. It's very concerning.
Thank you, Markel. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Good evening,
Good evening.
Kevin Ham, 32 Meeting House Court. I just came, I wasn't gonna say anything, but I feel really, compelled. Look, there's politics here, there's budgets here, there's other things going on, legal things, contracts to be negotiated. The bottom line is this. I hear the 33%, but what has the response time been? I heard, the county's supposed to be 15% or 15 minutes. What's the response time goal for this new deal that's on the table? I'd like to know what that is. I live in a house with 7 other individuals. 6 of them, including myself, have medical concerns. My wife fell several months ago. Response time is okay, but it wasn't great. If it had been a more serious issue, like a heart attack or something like that, I don't know if we'd be here today, or she would be here today. Elderly in-laws living with us that have heart conditions. What's the response time going to be? About a year ago, we were playing pickleball at Dingletown. Somebody had a heart issue. The response time was over 30 minutes. Fortunately, it was an AFib issue and it wasn't a blockage, but what if it was? So my question is, are you guys going to answer the questions? And what's the response time? Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything to say?
Many of you on the committee, my name is Kristen Taylor. Know me, know my family. My mom served this community for 23 years. My father has also served this community for another 26 years. I'm also on the CERT team. I was just sitting here listening and we're talking about representation and we've got community members that are serving that have been, voted onto the committee. One thought occurred to me, and I think in kind of a quasi way, my father has served in this way as, he was chief of EMS and then kind of spearheaded the merger with Tabernacle to get support. The volunteer numbers just weren't there. He ran more than anybody in the county for a number of years during COVID. He's gotten, letters from the county stating such. I'm not saying that. My thinking is, I'm not saying Dad needs to be a committee member. He won't do that. And I'm saying that because he has given his heart and soul. He's burnt out just like the rest of people who volunteer with zero to little thanks. I'm a veteran myself. I have served this country from a federal standpoint as well. The politics and the bureaucratic decision-making process shoots people who serve in the gut and makes them not want to serve. So in thinking about this and what's being said, my suggestion would be whether or not Tabernacle Rescue Squad remains on the board, or whether Shamong somehow rallies and starts their own EMS. My suggestion would be whoever is the chief of said emergency squad or chief of said fire department, they have a place on the committee so that they are privy to knowing what these decisions that are being made that are affecting the squad that they are representing, that are affecting the community that they're serving with very to little thanks. That's all I've got.
Thank you, Chris. Hi, welcome.
My name is Debbie Uhas, 23 Wheat Chief Road.
Welcome.
I would really love to hear from our Tabernacle Rescue Squad and our volunteers if that's possible.
I'm sure that when they're ready, they're going to stand up.
And also you were asked a lot of questions tonight. When will we know the answers, or is there a place that you guys are going to let us know what your answers to all these questions are?
Well, a lot of the questions I think were answered in my initial statement, which
Mm,
was a statement that was
I don't
also,
think so. No, wrong answer.
Which-
Wrong answer.
which
Try again.
that was also on our webpage, which was
Okay.
made available. I have made some statements also in the
Okay, so-
local. Let me answer.
Yeah.
Let me answer your question.
Sure.
I also made some statements in the local newspaper, which you probably have read.
Yeah.
As I indicated, we're making not only a business decision, because that's second. We're trying to do what's right for our citizens. And anytime that there's change, it's difficult for everyone involved because we don't want change.
You didn't answer my question.
Yeah.
Are you going to answer any of the questions that were fielded here tonight?
Well, I don't think I'm going to answer any other questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Anybody else have anything to say?
Good evening, George Jackson, Chief Tabernacle Rescue Squad.
Good evening, George.
Good evening, Mayor, Committee. Just some quick notes and some thoughts. So this was as much a surprise to us as the group. So there were some things you brought up. We were in a contract with Lumberton to provide daytime coverage. We still covered the night times up until December 31st. And we had moved away from that model for some different reasons. And listen, I am not here to bash Lumberton Emergency Squad. I'm not here to bash Hampton Lakes Emergency Squad. Many of the people that serve on Lumberton today that went there as paid employees came from town. Okay. We have a wonderful working relationship with Hampton Lakes, have for years, have supported each other and reciprocated mutual aid. Sometimes us more and sometimes them more, but that's part of mutual aid and that's how it works. So anything I say, the first thing I want to say is I'm not here disparaging any of those organizations. Because if I needed help and they were there, I'd be more than happy to be picked up by any of them. Okay, so, but we felt to serve our Pinelands community that the two visions between Lumberton and Tabernacle differ. And that's where I'm gonna leave it. So in September, I met with the chief of Hampton Lakes Emergency Squad. We came up with a plan to provide staffing and had a plan to provide staffing all the way up until December. When unfortunately, politics got involved and we were ultimately told you can't do that right now. So Tabernacle on December 18th had to figure out how to staff the town. And that's what we're working on. When we came in October and made our presentation here, the same one that we made in September in Tabernacle, we did give you a number of possibly up to $100,000 to help us. I've been a volunteer for 31 years, okay? I am now a paid position because, and just as an EMT, I don't get paid as a chief, I don't make any more than any of the other members, and I only get paid when I'm physically on that ambulance serving. We made that decision because we didn't think it was fair to say to somebody, well, at noon, I'm gonna pay you to ride the ambulance, but at midnight, I'm not gonna pay you and I'm gonna tell you to volunteer. Especially to the people, 31 years, 20+ years of service to this community to make that decision. We've watched other agencies go through that, and one of the other members will get up and speak about being a part of an organization as it transitioned from a volunteer to a paid, and the struggle that they had. It's going to be very similar to what you're seeing happen right here, right now. So in that October meeting, we said that, and we tried to be, again, open and honest as we could. And we told you, at the end of our presentation, which was cut a little short, we asked of your committee to form a subcommittee so we could sit and talk and explain everything. And walk through it and explain everything why. Because to be honest with you, I could stand up here for 15 minutes, for 20 minutes to give a presentation, and that's really not going to show you what you guys need to know to make a proper decision. So that was October 1st. So in January 25, this was tried before. Somebody sent me a resolution where you guys were going to go to Medford and they were going to provide your EMS, which we called and inquired about and asked why we didn't know about it and asked for, again, a meeting. No response. March 11th, there was a email sent to yourself and to Sue outlining, again, a request for a meeting with a subcommittee to discuss EMS coverage and discuss, because what you don't realize is that when we sat down and figured it out, that our number went from that $100,000 number, it shrank because Hampton Lakes and Tabernacle looked at the ways to save money, to try to make it more palatable to the towns. Because believe it or not, we live here too, we pay taxes too, and we don't want it to cost any more than it needs to. No response. On June 17th, 2025, President Vina again sent an email. This time he included Brian, and we got a response. Now, unfortunately, it's the summer. We all have vacations. I was away. You were away.
I just want to apologize for that. It was budget week for the state. A lot of things were in flux. I did respond and asked to possibly go out with you guys, and that's my scheduling fault at that moment.
So we finally, it took us a month, and partially was I was away on vacation and we wanted to be there. We wanted to make sure Dave, because Dave is our longstanding member of Shamong in this community, and we feel it's important to bring him out, bring us with us, and you guys, Dave, and it's a familiar face to you to talk about what we're doing. So once we all coordinate our schedule, we were supposed to meet on July, which you acknowledged you had something at work that you had to attend to. Sue was the only one there. So we gave our report, and I will state, as the numbers state, yes, we were having a problem. We are, and I'll give you an explanation why. We got a reply from you that day or the following day that said, I apologize. And we'll get together. I think it was, we'll meet somewhere and have a beer and we'll talk about it, but that is all we've ever gotten. So we've tried to reach out. We've tried to explain what's going on. And maybe hearing it from our point of view as the emergency provider to your town, maybe you would understand before you jump to this decision. That's all we were asking for. Now, as far as the $100,000 number goes, and again, the Indian Mills Fire Company is a great organization. We've worked together for years, but I believe your budgetary item or number to them is about $100,000 a year. Fire and EMS. What's the difference? It's just as important. I will not say that my organization is any more important than the Indian Mills Volunteer Fire Company, and I don't think they would say it either, that they were more important to us. So I get it. I get you want to hold the line. I applaud you because I've seen towns that don't, and it costs their residents. But in the honesty of, you never actually heard the final plan of where we were. Even when we turned it around where we couldn't merge with Hampton Lakes and we were gonna have to do it on our own and we needed support, we still cut the numbers to get it to a point where we thought it was palatable to you guys. But again, we never got that opportunity. When we met with Sue, we got told we put another $5,000 in the budget. That's what we got told. And that's it. And the statement was because you never got back to us with numbers. Well, we tried. And these are emails, so I can physically prove them. There were other phone calls or other requests, but physical emails. So we talk about the 33%. So again, starting out, hiring people. One of our issues is we're operating on our funding. Okay. $22,000 we got free. That covers the uninsured. So that's covering somebody. That's not additional funding. And that's to prevent the residents from getting a balance bill, which I wholeheartedly agree with, because I don't want anybody to think I don't want to call 911 because I don't want to get a balance bill. We do it in Tabernacle, we do it here. We did it here before we were your EMS agency. We still did it because we had an agreement with Shamong EMS and David at the time, because we didn't want it to look bad that if we came into your town, because you weren't billing when we started the bill, and we didn't want somebody to complain to them or to you about them because we showed up and balance billed your residents. So we didn't do it. We had an agreement with them. Okay. So what's in a number? So the 33%, you're right. 33% of the time we didn't answer the calls. So since then, July, we had 111 calls. We had a 30% miss rate. 6.3% of those times, though, we were on another call. So that brings us to 23%. Okay. That is the same that you would get from anybody else, because you're getting one truck. Are you getting one truck or two trucks? Because I made myself a note. You said you're getting two crews. So are you getting two crews 24 hours a day or one crew 24 hours a day?
I believe it's two.
Okay, man.
It's one from Tabernacle, one from Shamong.
So
One from each town.
So what? All right. So, what's that going to cost you? How much is that? Do you guys have any idea what they're going to charge to provide that?
Yeah, not yet. We haven't reached final numbers.
Because I can tell you what it's going to cost you for one from us to do the same service. It's $498,000 in salaries for one crew, 24 hours a day. The reason why we're coming to you is our billing in our best year was $375,000. So I don't care if it's my blue ambulance, their green ambulance, or their blue and yellow ambulance that are going to answer these calls. There's only so much money in the pot. So if you're getting a crew for Tabernacle and a crew, so you're on the hook for $500,000. That billing money, and it's about a 60-40 split between Tabernacle and Shamong. So if those numbers don't work at all. If you get that for free, call me and let me know, because you're getting the deal of the century. In August, we had 130, in July, we answered 22 mutual aid calls, or 19.8% of our calls were mutual aid calls to another town. So that's that neighbors helping neighbors. That's what this is all about. If I could rewind about 5-6 years ago, we had a 0% call miss rate. For 5 years, we didn't miss a first, second, or third rate call. We had 50 volunteers plus. I always said, if somebody gave me $1 million or 50 volunteers that ran their calls, I would never come back and ask you for another dime. But that's not reality. I'm trying to do it the most cost-effective and efficient way. And if you think that another group, again, is going to come in there and do it for cheaper, I'm telling you, the numbers don't work. Tyler and I have been doing numbers for almost 3 years now, trying to make this work, trying to figure out how we can do it. I'm telling you, it's not going to happen. They are going to come to you and either ask for money, or That overnight truck or that 6 PM to 6 AM truck is not coming from Tabernacle's building. It's coming from Southampton's building. And that truck's not only covering Tabernacle and Shamong, it's also covering Southampton. So now you're going from right now 2 ambulances, and even if you want to say we're not available, but 70% of the time, you're going from 2 ambulances covering this area to 1 ambulance covering 200 square miles. They run 2,500 calls a year on their own. And how long do you think Southampton Township is going to let that go on? In August, we had 132 calls. 25.76% were missed, but 8.3 we were on mutual aid or on another call, second rate call, mutual aid. So again, first primary trucks out, that's what you're getting from everybody. So to be fair, so that brings us to 17.4%. 29 mutual aid calls, 22%. 22% we provided mutual aid to our other towns. Okay. So I have a good relationship with the chief from Hampton Lakes. So I called him and said, what's your miss rate? Now, mind you, they took their squad back over about 3 or 4 years ago. They run it. They had a third party that came in and ran their organization. And when they took over, I think it's been 4 or 5 years now, when they took back their organization and began to run it internally within themselves. At that point, they were only covering their day crew, and their nights was relying on volunteers, and we were answering most of their evening calls. It took them a year and a half to get on their feet to the point that we weren't running in there all the time. And we understood it, and we stood by them and helped them. They're standing by us and helping us at the scene. Yes, we want it fixed. Do I want to be able to stand up here and say, I answer 100% of my calls like I used to? Absolutely, I do. Is it a reality right now in the current climate? Absolutely not. Unless you want to pay for 3 ambulances, because if somebody wants to pay for 3, have at it. But the reality of it is, he's at 13%. So in 8 months, we've been able to prove that we're 4% behind them. And here's the new thing. So we had to raise our money to get EMTs in. And once we bumped it up a couple more dollars, and we did in July, and we started seeing more people come in, it started working. And then your letter came out. And then Tabernacle's letter came out. And now I have established applications and people saying, I'd really like to come run for your organization. We have a nice facility. We have nice equipment. We don't have an overabundance of calls that they're running. You know, I'll use Burlington for an example. They're running 12 calls on a 12-hour shift. They're coming here running 3. It's a whole different lifestyle. And it's a nicer environment to work in. They won't take the job because in 60+ days, they're not going to have a job. So now we're handcuffed even further. So what I would like to see is this rescinded, overturned, voted on again, whatever you have to do. And let's sit down and have an actual discussion about it. I provided this service for 31 years to this town. You had EMS for a good part of it, but we were here just as they were to us. Shamong and Tabernacle to me are just the same place. It's just a little further south when we get turned on 206. Okay. My dad, 51, 52 years. My son's in it. I've had six family members serve with the Tabernacle Rescue Squad at some point. Like you could, listen, I would wish every town could have their EMS back. I wish Shamong, we took it over because you needed coverage. We were covering you 76% of whatever it was. And it wasn't Dave's fault. It wasn't Bill's fault. It was it was too much. And we merged the organizations together and we ran good for a period of time and we got through it. But the reality of it is the calls go up, the funding goes down. We are one of the last, there is one remaining volunteer EMS organization in Burlington County. It's Green Bank. They get like 300, 400 calls a year. We were running 1,600 calls a year on volunteers. It's not a feasible plan. Go look at any of these other organizations that went in front of us. It's the same thing. We are just the last one. And if you look at those organizations, they had the same struggles when they converted from being a volunteer to being paid. And we're just asking for the chance. I can't believe I'm up here arguing, begging to serve the community. And you know what? This isn't the first time. I've been the chief for 23 years. And this is the first time I've actually physically had to do it in this building, but I've had to go to that other one at least 4 times now. And it's just, I can't believe it. So I thank everybody for the time. I talk a lot. So
Thank you.
good night.
Thank you. Yes,
I'm not
sir.
gonna talk as long. I'm an assistant chief, you know, we're a little short. But Steve
Just
Kramer, I
Hi,
am
Steve.
1000 Old Mills Road, Tabernacle, but I am the proud assistant chief of the Tabernacle Rescue Squad, serving both Tabernacle and Shamong. I don't want to talk about my service in Tabernacle though, because I think I give a unique perspective that I wish that this committee and Tabernacle's committee had included at the table. So I am a past assistant chief and president of Medford EMS. I'm a past employee, one of the first employees, or the group of first employees in Lumberton EMS. So I've worked as both an employee and I've been a leader in the 2 groups that you've approached other than Hampton Lakes, which you heard their story from George about the time it took them to get up and running. But I was in leadership. I was in a leadership position when we made this transition in Medford, and I was an employee when we made this transition in Lumberton. I'm a school teacher by trade. EMS is not my thing. I'm a volunteer mainly. But I say that to say this: both of those organizations that you approached as Shamong and said these are more viable agencies, both Medford, when you approached Medford and tried to get EMS coverage from them, and now Lumberton. We're in the same position that Tabernacle Rescue Squad is in right now. I was there. I was one of the ones making the decisions in Medford as we made that transition from a mostly volunteer force, where I was scheduling much the same way as I started here in Tabernacle, scheduling volunteers, trying to get people to run on the weekends, you know, banging the drum, getting people out, those sort of things. We sort of realized that the same thing was happening in Medford, although it happened there sooner, our call volume was higher. We had to make that transition. We merged in completely with the Division of Fire and EMS and did it that way. In Lumberton, I was one of the first employees. We only had a certain amount that were allowed to work. And eventually I had to leave because at that time I was a summer guy, right? I'm a school teacher. I was working there in the summer. Some things have been said about why some of our members have left. There's been some accusations of leadership issues in Tabernacle, and that's why people went to Lumberton. I can tell you I didn't go to Lumberton because of a leadership issue, or because I needed cash and I was a school teacher and I get paid in the summertime. And at that time, Tabernacle wasn't offering that. Tabernacle now is. We made that transition in January. We made that transition with the background that both I brought and several other our leadership team, both from Shamong and from Tabernacle. And I would argue that we took a lot of those things that we learned in those towns that have had to do it before, these Pinelands communities. One of the things I used to say in Medford is my Pinelands community, my hometown, man, we can get volunteers out. And it's because we have the group of people that come out and they stand behind these sort of community ventures and they're supportive of each other. And this neighbors helping neighbors thing has lasted a lot longer here than even I would have expected as someone who's been in this business for 20 years. But it's not the way it once was, right? You've heard those numbers. You've heard just the sheer call volume, right? You talked about one of those calls last night. We streeted 3 trucks. Even I, running the second truck, didn't think I would have another truck coming behind me. We were still able to do that. 5 folks from the Tabernacle Rescue Squad who were not on shift, who were not on a duty crew, who were not put on that truck like the staffing you're talking about now having, showed up from their homes and staffed 2 additional trucks. It's just something that's not going to happen in this plan, right? Whether it's 1 truck or 2 trucks, whether it's 1 Lumberton, 1 Hampton Lakes, whether the Hampton Lakes truck comes from Southampton, we don't know any of that because we haven't seen the actual plan, because I know you haven't done that yet or finished that yet. What I can tell you is what happened last night with the volunteers and the paid staff at Tabernacle Rescue Squad isn't going to happen in this plan. And I've seen it. I've lived it. I've been a leader in that transition, and I've been an employee in that transition. The reason I left Lumberton, again, I don't want to disparage Lumberton or Hampton Lakes. I too have run with a lot of these organizations and have friends and colleagues that have run in all these organizations too. We're all doing the same work, right? Whatever color our truck is, we're on the same team when we get on the scene. The reason I left Lumberton is because their call volume increased too, and they started to push me and said, hey, listen, you can't just be a summer guy, we need you to start running weekends. We need you to start running nights, and I just couldn't do it. So I left, and not because I had any issue with Lumberton, just because I didn't have the time to give them, and they needed to free that spot up for another paid employee. They've done well. Medford has done well. Both organizations that you've approached to look at EMS here. My argument here, or my plea for this committee, is now that you're hearing some of these things you didn't hear, you're looking at these numbers for 8 months. It took the Tabernacle Rescue Squad with the plan we put in place in January to go from that 33% number, which is scary, I get it, down to that 17% number we just talked about, that we're within shooting distance of the organization that you're asking to replace us by taking us off the street. So now you're not talking about missed calls, you're talking about 70% response rate, or in that case, 80% response rate that you're just gonna remove from the street. I'm gonna tell you as someone who's done this for 20 years, and the reason you hear passion in my voice right now is this is not doable. This is gonna hurt this entire area. You are not gonna be able to staff the trucks that you need in the places that you need them under this plan. I know it because I've lived it. I've lived it for 20 years. I've lived it as a leader in some of the towns you've asked to serve. I've lived it as an employee. And I'm living it right now as Tabernacle Rescue Squad. There is a piece of me, right? And my mother's a wonderful woman. She would love for this just to be over. She'd love you to take it out. She's probably gonna buy a cake and say, Steve, you got stuff to do on the farm. Why don't you go home? Right? I don't want to do it. I've never wanted to do it. This is my life's work besides teaching, right? And what I'm asking this committee, and I know that you're sort of, handcuffed to the decisions Tabernacle's making, I'll be making the same plea in Tabernacle in a week, is that you just rescind this vote. And you bring that subcommittee that we asked, and that you seem to, you're asking good questions. Ask them of the people that are doing the job for you. You thanked us by resolution last month. You thanked us again tonight for a response we went on. Let us tell you our story, what we're doing, and how we're doing it well. Because we are, and we're within shooting distance of the numbers that it took Hampton Lakes years to get to, that it took Lumberton years to get to, that it took Medford. And I can take this shot at myself because I was a president and assistant chief. It took me years to get there in Medford, right? It's taken us much less time because of the experience we bring, the dedication we have, and the people that are around this room who wear this shirt and show up night after night, day after day for the residents of Tabernacle and Shamong. Don't send us home. I got things to do, but I'd much rather serve my community, and I'd love to serve this community as well.
Thank you, Steve. Anyone else? Yes, sir. Hi, Dave.
Dave Taylor, One Meeting House Court. Good to see you guys.
Nice to see you as well.
Mike, Doug, I'm thinking of a meeting we had in Mike's office in March or April of 2020. I'd been chief for 7 years. I'd stepped away from that slot for a couple of years. I just stepped back in. A month later, I get a letter from the state saying, we're fining you $108,000. Talk about deer in the headlights. So
I remember the meeting well.
I left for vacation the next day, came back a couple days later, got together with you two, walked into that office, quite frankly, expecting to get my head shoot off, and didn't know what to expect. Doug, I'll never forget, the first thing you said was, this is a power grab. The fire unions up north, and we're talking big picture, they want to grab EMS because they see this insurance billing, they think it's a catch up. You said in Burlington County, you specifically referenced Steve Shamong, I guess your solicitor as well. And you said, I constantly hear complaints from folks who live in Marlton Lakes. And when they call 911, they've got to wait 20 minutes for an ambulance because the only ambulance is in Main Street. There's not an ambulance in Kettle Run at night. You said, if we start to regionalize this area, we're going to see the resources go to Marlton, to Mount Laurel, to the river towns where there's a lot of population and there's high call volume. We might have an ambulance station here, but the minute they get busy, it's going to move. I would submit that, as my colleagues have said, in this scenario, that same thing is going to play just by nature of necessity and practicality. Not that anybody's intending to take advantage or shirk their duty. There's only so many resources to go around. So I'm concerned that we will see that happen if this moves forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Good evening, Jay.
Mr. Mayor,
Nice to see you.
uh,
Just identify yourself for the record.
wait, what?
Just identify yourself for the
My
record.
name is L. Harrison J. I live at 13 Stony Creek Court. I can hit a wedge shot to your house and hit your pool.
I think you have a couple
Yeah.
times.
And what I want to just make a comment. I've been in each one of your seats at Temple University in North Philadelphia. And the biggest thing that the community wants to hear from you is transparency. They just want to know what's going on. You guys have a calm meeting compared to North Philadelphia. I've had people throwing tomatoes still in the can up here. So all I'm asking is that you be, because all of you I know is squirming in your seat right now. You kind of look like, what the heck is going on? Where's this information coming from? People talk. People in North Philadelphia talk. Temple did not listen. And you know what happened? We didn't get a football field. There's a whole lot of things we didn't get because we didn't sympathize with the community and listen to their concerns. And a lot of people not only are telling you what's going on, but they're bringing you solutions. And you want to know, you guys know what's wrong. You just need solutions. And people are letting you know what the solutions are. All they want to do is have you listen to them. And Mike, I've known you for 30 years. You and I met the first time you walked into the community. Please respond to these people. I'm asking you as a friend and a neighbor, please don't tell them you're not gonna get back to them. Please, I'm begging you. Just write a letter I've known Bill for years too. Bill has been in many of these kind of community meetings where, the community's in an uproar. He's bringing you solutions. Many of these people are bringing solutions. They're not just bringing problems. They're trying to tell you, here's what we think would work. All they want to do is have you listen. Please, Mike, don't tell them you're not going to answer questions. That's one of the worst things I think I've heard from you. Please, even if you drop a note, one thing, and you know Joanne, one thing she always did was take a little sticky, write a note to a neighbor or something, say, here, I listened to you. Here's what I think, and get back to them. It just takes a second. With social media, and I'm social media challenged, with social media these days, you can hit a text and say, Mrs. Jones, I heard your concerns. I think this is what's going on. These are my thoughts. Let me let you know what I'm thinking. Let me let you know what the committee is thinking. People think you're almost like a lot of people are thinking like Donald Trump. You're going into a room making a decision about these folks' lives without letting them know or have a decision in what's going on. And I live by myself. I've had a stroke. And the two numbers I have on my phone is yours and Mike's and Bill's. If something were to happen, I would have fallen down the steps, and I've done that. Joanne, it took an hour. We almost called Temple ambulance to come get me. So please, listen to these folks and get back to them. Please, I'm asking you, Mike. I'm looking you in the eye. Please, get back to them. Let them know what's going on. When you go in executive session, and I've been there as well, things are said and done because the team thinks they're making the best interest for the community. But you got to let the community know what decisions you're making so that they can feel a part of it. That's what a community is, communication, togetherness. And they put you in these seats because they believed in you, they have faith in you, that you're going to do the right thing. Just let them know that you are doing it. I'm asking you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Jay. Ms. King, come on up. Can you stand, or do you want to speak from there?
I think everybody can hear me from here.
And just identify yourself, please.
Outside Road. I live across from the outside campground, family campground. So I'm about a mile away from that accident, exactly a mile away from that accident last night. And just out of curiosity, what was the response time? I know you were there quick.
Well, I can say that our duty crew was in-house. So their response was immediate, whatever would take them to drive from 134th Road to that sign. The second truck was probably 2 to 3 minutes.
I was still going there quite a bit.
I'm just curious because my husband's had 5 heart attacks. He's 84 years old and, actually in better shape than I look, but not the greatest. But, I'm a member of the inactive right now, but I'm a member of the fire company. My husband's a life member. My, youngest son and daughter were fire people and EMTs. My grandson that lives with us is also volunteer fireman. So, I'm familiar with the whole thing. I was fire police. I got to tell everybody where to go for years. Did very well at it. And I don't think I'd be happy with Lumberton waiting for them to come out. We have very good Tabernacle, Indian Mills. They've always been good over the years. They've been good for us. They've been there. I would be a little concerned how long it would take Lumberton to get out to us, particularly with I'm probably the furthest person away here in this town. I'm right at the lake. I'm right across from Hampton.
So first race response was immediate because they were in house and it took them 9 minutes to cover that ground.
Yeah, we've had very good coverage. Anytime, we almost lost my husband a couple of years ago. We had Indian Nelson, but he had heat stroke and went into cardiac arrest. He was 38 days in the hospital, ended up with triple bypass and valve replacement. And was 30, we almost lost him, but the response time was amazing. And I like to keep it that way.
All right.
Although there's some days where, would I call 911? I just use the dog's shock collar.
Thank you, Mrs. King. Thank you, appreciate it. Anybody else have anything to say? Just getting ready to close it.
Kyler Vina, Tabernacle Gate Road. I'm
welcome.
the president of the rescue squad. I checked my notes. I think George or Chief Jackson, he hit most of the points for the major things, but pretty much just to follow what they say. I implore you guys to rescind this. The biggest thing is like you guys aren't on the truck. We walk into the residents' houses, and I can't count on my hands and feet the amount of times that we walk through the door and they say, I don't understand why they're doing this to you, and I don't think it's a good idea. That's what your residents are saying. And if you had to put it to a vote, I think your residents would tell you otherwise. If Lumberton's in the building and Tabernacle, it is what it is. Like it's still a truck getting out. The biggest thing here is about making sure that an ambulance is covering this area, right? That was the most important thing. When we came to you and said we want to merge with these other organizations, it was so that the seat at the table was always with a Tabernacle or a Shamong person, because that's the important part. The Pinelands type of an idea, that regionalization, I had a tooth extracted today, so I'm working it. Yes, thank you. I'm still a little numb. I apologize. But that was what we came to you guys and out. We tried to meet with you. I sent you guys the emails to try and get in a meeting with you. We did try. The numbers they did. We stand behind that 30%. It is a number that we don't want to be that number, but it's being pointed out as what we are, but that's not what we are. We were 100% organization 5 years ago. We want to be 100% organization again. We need help. And that's what we've been trying to tell you. And that's what we've had to come here tonight to say, we need help. And the way that we think it will occur is through a little bit of funding. That's what it was. The other major thing that I just want to add is when we did have the contract with Lumberton, they were at a loss. I have email proof that they were at a loss at the end of the contract. That was one of the big things that I just wanted to make sure you guys know, that even with the balance billing, they were at a loss too. So them covering just payroll and running Tabernacle truck, they were still at a loss. So there's going to need to be money put into this no matter who is doing it. So you have to make sure that there's enough funding set aside for EMS in this area. I don't care if it's Tabernacle paying for it, Shamong paying for it, equally paying for it. There needs to be funding set aside. And Like George said, I think it's 110,000. I don't know if that's what the fire department actually gets. I have no issue. Like Tabernacle Township does a great job at funding the fire department. I have no issue with the fact that you guys set aside 110,000. I don't think it's enough. I think they need more. I think they deserve more. They are a cheap organization, not cheap in the sense of what they're doing, but cheap because it's not the price of how much firefighters that are paid cost. And it's the same for EMS. We're trying to do it as cheap as possible. So you guys need to figure out a way. You boast about the fact that you have one of the lowest tax rates in the county, but what services are your residents getting? It seems like your residents might be willing to pay a little more to get a little bit more service. That's all I got.
Thank you, Paul. Anyone else? If you already spoke, I think we're gonna limit that you already spoke. Anybody else that hasn't spoken? Yes, ma'am.
Can I speak from here?
Come on up, because that way people that are watching from the internet will be able to hear you.
Watching.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, my name is Jean Drost. I've been in Shamong for 49 years.
Hi, Gene.
In fact, I taught your children.
I know you did. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
It's good to see you.
So I have a vested interest in the community as well, and I'm getting older. So I'm starting to get a little bit concerned if something were to happen to me, and I live by myself now, my husband has passed away. I'd like to know that there's someone there that's gonna help me out when it's needed. I'm very concerned about the fact that these other towns that you're trying to hire or buy into or get them to help you are so far away. And Medford Lakes doesn't sound that far away. Medford doesn't sound that far away, but it does when there's traffic and when there's a heart attack or there's an extreme emergency. These guys have covered us and done the best job that they could. We all know that volunteerism is down. And yet this is a community of volunteers. We've always had a really good community in that respect. I know my husband volunteered here for baseball and helped out with the soccer teams. If we can get these volunteers for the sports, why can't the township go along with the EMS and the firefighters and try to get some more people to volunteer instead of saying, you can't get them? Why don't we work together to get more volunteers? We need to keep our community, not people from the outside coming in. And we need to make sure that the people that we trust and have trusted for all these years are still working with us because they want to. So that's all I have to say.
All right, thank you, Gene. Anyone else? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we'll close this portion of the public session.
Do you mind?
No, not at all.
Oh.
I'll open it up to the dais, please.
Yeah, I mean, just as one of the, 5 people who made this decision, I felt you all owed just kind of what my thought process was behind it. Ever since coming onto this committee 4 years ago, we have heard about the issue with volunteerism. And not just with you guys, Indian Mill struggle, everybody struggles with volunteerism in the state. We've, made the training hours so hard to achieve that it's not just something that people can do on their extra time. They have to be professionals. And it's made it very hard. So I know that's always been an issue. As far as ambulances coming from a far distance, I think there's a little bit of misconception there. The Tabernacle building would still house an ambulance. It would just be run by different people. Now to get to the situation. So in the beginning of the year, we were informed that, and I don't know the reason behind it, you guys are no longer working with Lumberton, which did lead to a drop in service, which, it's frightening to hear when you hear a drop in service numbers. It sounds like you guys did a lot of work to try to rectify that. But from our point of view, that's what we heard. We were not informed of why the relationship with Lumberton ended. So kind of 2 ways, which is something we would have liked to known about on there. And then, we've been meeting, we've been discussing this of what we can do. What are all the options around the table? And then we were informed, and this was in the process of you guys asking for a meeting, we were informed that Tabernacle was going to terminate the agreement. So we were caught, rock in a hard place. Tabernacle told us they're no longer housing you. This is our mutual aid. This is who we have an agreement with. if they can't house you, what are we gonna do? What are the people of Shamong gonna get? What are their services gonna get? So we made a decision, as quickly as we could, with all of the information we had, which was that Tabernacle was terminating the agreement. I don't think I'd be comfortable rescinding that decision without hearing from Tabernacle on if they are planning on rescinding their decision, because then we're caught with nothing. As far as the meeting, I'm very sorry. That was my busiest time of the year. I'd really like to make it up to you. I always down to meet. I will still be down to meet. I have no problem hearing you guys out. So please get in touch with me. I'd love to hear anything you guys have to say. But as without Tabernacle, that's who we rely on for housing you guys. So we can't be caught with no service to Shamong. So that's just my thought process. That's why I made the decision I made. I felt you all deserve to know that. So that's all I want to say.
Thank you. Anybody else on the board want to say anything?
No.
Okay. All right, with that, we're going to then move to items for discussion and possible official action. But I want to thank, before we do that, thank everybody that's come out. We tried to be as transparent as possible with you. We have nothing to hide. We want to, well, you may say no, but you had your chance already. Let me just explain. Anybody, as far as that, I couldn't make the meeting because I think I had a trial that day or something. So my apologies as well. If most of you know me, if you come to my office, there's an open door, and a lot of you have been there. This is not a comfortable thing. We didn't want this. We know many of you and your friends. It's not the way it's played out. So there's a book that, we used to read to our kids when they were young. It's an unfortunate series of unfortunate events. And a lot of things have come into place. The volunteerism is down, and maybe we're one of the last couple towns almost in America, to have Mayberry RFD, and we miss it. If I could wave my magic wand, that's what I'd want, is to get Shamong EMS reconstituted and have them right back where they belong. But we have to look at reality, right? And that's what we're trying to do. There was an instance where there was a young boy who was on a motorcycle that crashed or was hit just about 100 yards from my office on Indian Mills Road. Our OEM, John Lyons, was there. I walked down there. That boy laid in the road for about a half an hour on the cold street. And I was ready to go get my car and go drive him to the hospital. And I asked John, well, can you get him in yours? No, we have to wait. I'm not blaming you guys, right? I understand all these circumstances have come together to squeeze all of us and make it difficult for us to do what we used to do. So I understand. And, if there was a way that, and maybe you'll all end up wherever it is in Lumberton or whatever. If you come back and start in Shamong, you'd be welcome to do that. I understand that that's not going to happen. So we're in reality. I just don't want, the most important thing is the safety of our residents, right? Then the next thing is your well-being. And the third thing is tax dollars. I hear every day about people being squeezed out of Shamong because their taxes have gone up. Last year, your taxes went up $100,000 in 1 year. And people are saying, I can't handle this. So we're looking to do everything we can to keep taxes low and to make sure that we serve our community. And we're not happy about how this has played out. So I just wanted to say that. Anybody on the DS have anything else to say? All right, with that, I want to just thank you for coming. You can stay for the rest of the meeting. We won't be upset if you leave. We'll move now to items for discussion and possible official action. The first one being approval of the minutes. We'll let you clear out that way.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay, the first is the approval of the minutes for the August 5, 2025 regular and executive session meeting. Everybody's had an opportunity to review it. Can we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Mr. Wilkinson,
Yes.
Mr. Diamond,
Yes.
Ms. Mazitis,
Yes.
Mr. Woods,
Yes.
and Mr. DeCroce.
Yes, next is the engineer's report on the formal inspection of the Indian Mills Dam.
So we, excuse me, we did our biannual inspection, which was due this year.
on the end of July. We've prepared the report that has to go to DEP. I reviewed it last week. It'll go to Sue this week for authorization, and then we'll send it up to DEP. No major defects in the dam itself. Structurally, it's in great shape. There are some maintenance items, overgrowth, things like that, that we'll review with Public Works and they'll get taken care of in the fall.
All right, great. Thank you. All right, next we're going to go to the employee educational seminar request for Christine Chambers, who's a CFO, to attend the GFOA 2025 Annual Fall Conference on September 10th and 11th, 2025, at a cost of $535. If anybody has any questions or comments, if not, can we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Mr. Diamond?
Yes.
Ms. Mazitis?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Mr. DeCroce?
Yes, next is the 2025-26 tax bills, which, as we said earlier, were mailed out on August 18th, and extended due date is 3 p.m. September 16th to avoid any interest payments. Next item is the approval for tree work on the township property. Lisa, can you give us an update on that?
We received 3 quotes for the tree work on the township property located in Muskegum Woods. It's a damaged oak leaning over the roadway. We had Greg Smith Tree Service at $975, Tree and Land Masters at $1,000, and Rich Tree Service at $2,485. So we're looking for approval to go with the lowest bidder, Greg Smith Tree Service, for the $975.
Okay. Anybody have any questions or comments? If not, can we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Ms. Mazitis?
Yes.
Mr. Diamond?
Yes.
Mr. DeCroce?
Yes, next we have the park grant approved for $125,000.
Yeah, so at the end of June, we applied for grant for drainage work, batting cages, snack stand improvements, asphalt path improvements, pickleball court lighting. We did ask for $246,000. We were awarded $125,000, except for a couple outliers. That's pretty much the higher end of the awards. So we'll meet next week with Sue, maybe IMAA, and whoever else, and we'll get the scope nailed down to the funding that we have available.
Right, great job. That's awesome news. So that's $125,000 not coming out of Shamong taxpayers.
There's if somebody on the board that's available to us to meet with us in IMAA and Public Works would be there.
Anybody want to volunteer for that?
I'll do it.
Thank you, Neil.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Joe. All right, next we got the building zoning office software update.
Just wanted to make you aware that we were notified by our current office software, MC System Solutions, that they will be partnering and merging with another competitor, SDL. Due to the price increase that we were made aware of, we will be reaching out to any other available software for our building and zoning office that's approved in New Jersey. So that way we can get the most competitive price, but also make a good long-term decision on what we'll be looking to do. So we'll have more information on that. I have a meeting with SDL and MC Systems on Thursday to get more information about the merger, but just to make you aware that that was going to be something coming.
Okay, great. Thank you. The 2025 Employee Policies and Procedures Manual.
There were some updates, additions to the Americans with Disabilities policies to include language relating to Federal Pregnant Workers Fairness Act, which was passed in 2023 and had regulations issued in 2024. Additions to the policy against harassment to include language about hostile work environments arising from conduct occurring outside of the workplace and even in non-work related contexts if it affects the workplace, which was contained in guidance issued by the EEOC in 2024. There was a change in language to the vacation policy in order to be more in line with the comptroller's report state law, carrying over vacation leave for 1 year only, and when it cannot be used due to business demands, which we did not look to make that update. We kept the existing language for employees to be able to carry 2 weeks vacation. And then the last item was just an addition of an acknowledgement of receipt page.
Just the reason we left that language in there for carrying over vacation time is we've actually started a fund for this many years ago, knowing that we had a number of employees set to retire and not to have the financial burden of paying them out. We systematically put together a fund for those extra banked time. If we change this, I spoke with Doug on this as well. If we change this right now, we're going to force everybody to max out all their time between now and the end of the year, or we're going to have to give them approval from the committee to carry time anyhow. But since financially we've already taken steps and methodically put money aside every year for this, we don't get hit with a big bang when people retire. As in the past 4 or 5 years, we've had 4 people retire. Well, actually a little more than that. I think it was 8 years ago that Barb retired, and we were able to systematically put money aside and not have it be a big financial burden to the town.
Okay, sounds like a good idea.
Doug, do you have anything else to add on the?
Yeah, I just want to add that I think sometimes the recommendations come out of instances of municipalities or cities where there's abuse happening. We're a small municipality. Sue knows every employee in the building and manages those issues. We've never had a problem with abuse of time. And if there was a situation, we could respond to it in other ways. So because of the planning that's taken place and the history in Shamong, that's why I think it's supportable here.
And our cap on sick time is actually lower than the state provides, so.
Okay, great. Thank you.
We still-
Next,
We still need you to.
we need a
approve-
motion on that?
Yes, we can adopt this new policy manual.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Ms. Mazitas?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Mr. Diamond?
Yes.
Mr. DeCroce?
I vote yes. All right, next is a resident's request to remove dead and fallen trees from township property.
This is a yearly agreement that comes up around this time of year for Nicholas Greco of Grassy Lake Road to remove trees on block 2301, lot 26, and block 801, lot 1262. So he's provided all of the insurance information for us.
This is something we've done for a number of years, and there have been no negative issues, and it actually is helpful by having him remove the towns, and his insurance is in place against one. It is in place?
Yes.
And he's also signed off on his full harmless agreement as in prior years.
All right, good. Anybody have any questions or comments? If not, can we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Ms. Mazitas?
Yes.
Mr. Diamond?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Mr. DeCroce?
Yes. Thank you. Next is a mayor's request for additional cameras at Dingletown. We'll get an update on that.
Yeah.
Let me just say before we jump into it that we've had a number of issues that were raised at Dingletown and IMAA, which we're trying to address. One of which is unauthorized use at different times, leaving the lights on at different times. So we've think that by putting up some additional cameras, it'll be helpful to try and get control of that situation.
Yeah,
Sue?
and without giving away too much of the location of the cameras and all, there is some positions that would be advantageous for us to have them. One of the concerns is getting power to them and Wi-Fi or cabling back to them. So I've gotten some of the information from my IMAA so that we can go forward and try to pull this together and get an estimated cost to see what this would actually come to.
They do have neat cameras now that are solar.
Mhm.
That might be good, and they'll go right to your camera and or whoever's camera. So we might want to look into that as a less expensive way to go as well.
Yeah, I have those. They work really well.
They work well.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I have one at the office too, and it seems to be good. We need a motion on that, or just an update?
Just an update.
Okay, and the last one of items for discussion is report on projected health insurance cost in 2026, which last I heard, they were looking for a 25% increase.
So currently we're having weekly meetings with the New Jersey League of Municipalities, attending every week to stay informed. We're still at the point that the state needs to save 100 million. So the annual projected savings for the state put out this projected savings with some ideas on how to save, and many of the items are well exceed the 100 million, just by doing a few of the items. Some of them would be eliminating some of the current plans and consolidating them. Retain all current state health benefit plans, state plans, and increase the deductibles and out-of-pocket. Implement spousal surcharge of spouses who have the ability to access other coverage. That would be a $50 surcharge for each member. Eliminate the Medicare supplement plan and migrate state members to the Medicare Advantage. Some of the other items were implementing some additional tiers and requirements with the GLP-1 and monitor some of those programs a little closer. So we're still waiting. The Plan Design Committee hasn't put out an update since they've received this. So next week we're hoping for an update, but right now we're still not receiving anything from the state and set in stone.
This can have a major financial impact on our budget and cause a tax increase, which we're trying to avoid, of course, and we're doing everything possible to see if we can avoid that. Okay, that's the end of the items for discussion, but I'd like to go as a courtesy to John Lyons. Is he awake out there? Would you, no report? Do you want to give us any additional comments about last evening, or? Thank you, sir. I appreciate you being here. Next, we're going to move to resolutions 2025R-82, which is granting the raffle license to the Grand Chapter Widows Sons of New Jersey.
This raffle will take place on September 20th. It's a 50-50, and it will take place at the Piccalilli.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions or comments?
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Ms. Mazitas?
Yes.
Mr. Diamond?
Yes.
Mr. DeCroce?
I vote yes. 2025R-83, which is a certification of the governing body of the annual audit group affidavit form.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Any second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
Mr. Diamond?
Yes.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Ms. Mazitas?
Yes.
Mr. DeCroce?
Yes, next is 2025R-84, which will authorize the execution of shared services agreements with the County of Burlington for the central communications system. Want to give us an update on that?
So this is just renewing a current shared service agreement by resolution. So we just need approval for that.
Any questions or comments? If not, can we have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Ms. Mazitas?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Mr. Diamond?
Yes.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Mr. DeCroce?
Yes, 2025R-85, which authorizes membership in a mutual aid and assistance agreement with participating units.
This is another extending shared service with the County of Burlington.
Anybody have any questions or comments? If not, can we have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion for resolution 2025.
Thank you.
85.
I'll second that motion. And just to be clear, this has nothing to do with the topic.
Right.
No, just so everybody.
Correct.
I I know it reads like it might, but thank you. Sorry.
Ms. Mazitas?
Yes.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Mr. Diamond?
Yes.
Mr. DeCroce?
I vote yes, 2025R-86, which is open space tax termination, 12/31/25. Any update on that, Doug?
So the township, by state statute, there is a methodology where open space tax can be created. And the township did that initially and then renewed again by vote in 2013. So that expires by the term of the approval from the voters that took place back in 2013 at the end of this year. In order for the county tax board and everybody who's involved in the taxation process to be notified of making sure that that tax comes off, we wouldn't have the authority to continue it after that, that they're aware of that. You know, as a general matter, I think the municipality has some money that it has saved now in this open space tax, so we do have the ability as needed to put money to those needs. And I think as an overarching feeling of the committee is that if we can reduce the tax going forward, then that's the best interest of the residents at this time. If in the future there was a need for revisiting this, the governing body can go through the process again, put the issue to the voters, and the voters can decide whether they want to continue it.
Okay, great.
This is also the tax that we've talked at many budget meetings for 7 or 8 years now. Knowing that we're coming to the point where we're going to have to generate more local purpose tax for things, for many things. Everything's going up. You just mentioned health benefits alone. So there's going to be a savings, but there's also going to be an offset in an increase of local purpose tax. We're probably looking at a 2 cent across the board increase overall. And the reason for that is there's a state requirement that once we're over 10 cents, every time we go over the 2% threshold that we're locked into to raise our tax rate, we'll have to come back to the taxpayers. Right now, that 2 cent increase generates about $14,000 a year. Quite honestly, what we're talking about in health benefits alone will chew all that up and more. Then you still have maintain the equipment we have here, pay staff, keep the lights on, and try to fund the other services that the community is used to. So it's one of those things that although there's going to be a savings, it's more prudent to do a one-time bump and then hold the tax rate as flat as we can to that 2% cap over the next several years. Because every time we have to go out to to referendum on it on for the voters to go over that 2 cent cap, there's a lot of expenses behind that for our professionals. So we're just trying to do this as efficiently and financially be as good of financial stewards as we can, and by methodically doing the increases and not doing them every year.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions or comments? If not, can we have a motion? There's no motion, it dies.
I'll make a motion to approve the open space tax termination.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Ms. Mazitis?
Yes.
Mr. Diamond?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Mr. DeCroce?
Yes, next we move to ordinances. 2025-6, which is the second reading and public hearing of an ordinance to amend Chapter 155 governing tree removal and replacement to add an exception for agricultural activity. Can you give us an update on that, Doug?
Sometime before I retire, we'll get through a year without talking about our tree removal ordinance, which I will point out was mandated by the state in a way that relates to stormwater issues that, because of Shamong's geography, does not really apply in Shamong Township. So we adopted an ordinance, created many exceptions to that ordinance, things for fire safety, and other concerns to be addressed that are pertinent to our community. One of the things that has come up in the interim since we adopted it, and I think I probably brought about 7 drafts to you before you guys agreed to adopt it, is that there are instances in agricultural use where farmers need to make a determination to do some tree removal that's best for agricultural practices. So this exception is just one additional exemption to the tree removal requirements, meaning that they don't have to go through the process if there's a determination made that it's being taken down for agricultural purposes. They can do that clearing for planting or pasture land as they see fit.
Okay, I think this is a good compromise, and we appreciate the work that you did. And it gives back the freedom to the landowner and the farmers to do what they think is best for their farm. Does anybody have any questions or comments? If not, can we have a motion?
I was going to renew my concern that this particular exclusion is just so broad that it basically says that anybody who wants to remove a tree, basically for any reason, now can just say, hey, you know, I don't like this tree, I'm gonna plant some agriculture around it and remove the tree. It's just so broad, this language, that it makes the entire ordinance that we had, you know, last, beginning of this year, kind of useless. It's just my opinion on it.
Thank you. Anybody else have any comments?
In
If-
favor of making this ordinance useless. Sorry, I don't, none of us wanted it in the first place, state mandate.
Yeah, I like having trees, I guess, and I just see this as being a reason that anybody can cut down. I mean, we've had people in town clear cut their property. I mean, we've had meetings here where people have complained, especially the joint land use meetings, where we've had meetings and people come and say, well, you know, this guy clear cut his whole property, and it's gone to the Pinelands because of that.
Yeah, I mean, there's still, for sure, there's still backstops
Right.
for stuff like this. This ordinance added a whole laundry list of things you have to do.
I don't-
Remove a tree, you have to put in another tree. Obviously with people with, maybe a quarter acre property with a well on one side, with septic on the other, it's hard to do.
No,
Remove
because
one,
we
place
actually,
one,
because
so
if you have a quarter acre property, we have an exclusion for that.
Because
That's
of-
within,
because
within
of what the-
within 1 acre of your property, you can cut down a tree anyway.
we'll always have the same backstops we had before the state told us we had to, every town had to have this very robust tree removal ordinance, so. But anyway, never.
Anybody else? Any questions or comments? If not, can we have a motion?
We have to open to the public because this is second reading.
Thank you. Okay. So we'll open up the public for any questions or comments on the ordinance, which is a second reading of 2025-6, which is an ordinance to amend chapter 155 governing the tree removal. Yes, ma'am. You don't have to stand up, just yell. Joe will pass them.
Laura King. As a farmer, we have a farm. I believe the fact that it says agriculture activity, to be an agricultural farm, you have to have at least 5 acres. So I don't think that would cover a quarter acre or a little, you'd have to have the agriculture would be a farm. And to be classified as a farm, to get farm exemption, I'm pretty sure it's 5 acres or more.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I more meant so the ordinance to begin with before. Doug, I think, did very good work to help us kind of remove the teeth from the state law. Again, clear cutting, there's still backstops to clear cutting. This was remove a tree, replace a tree. I have neighbors with hundreds of trees on the same. It's to have to go to the township, pay a fee for a dead tree, remove it, replace. It was a very aggressive ordinance brought on by the DEP in the state, which is very aggressive. It brought on a big, public onus for people who have hundreds of trees on their property. It's not the same as living in the suburb. You have one tree, you cut, it just didn't really match with,
Okay, except
Shamong
Brian, that we say, if you want to bring that up, nuisance trees may be removed
were you
with
in
no
favor
fee.
of the, you didn't want this ordinance in the first place. So,
I was in favor of.
no, I mean like
limiting-
the original
I didn't like,
ordinance.
no, I didn't like the original one
Okay.
either.
So basically, I mean, this is an ordinance for towns like Edison in North Jersey, where there are trees are treasured and they don't want them cut down. We live in a forest. This ordinance allows the farmer to have the freedom to do what they deem right without having to come into the town to get a permit to cut down a tree on their property. So we're in public comment. Anybody have, not us. I apologize. Anybody have any questions or comments on this? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we'll close it to the public comment and we'll ask for a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Mr. Woods,
Yes.
Mr. Diamond,
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson,
No.
Ms. Mazitas,
Yes.
Mr. DeCroce.
Yes. Next, we go to the favorite part of the meeting, which is the approval of the attached bill list, which has been sent out to everybody for approval. This month's budget is $1,626,515.63. And Lisa, as I always or sometimes ask, Sue, how much of that $1.6 million goes to Shamong?
Shamong Township, so it's 166,500.
Thank you.
From It's gonna be 525,000 for Lenape, 934,000 for Shamong Township Board of Ed. Another big ticket on here was the Indian Mills Fire Department for 18,750, and then we had our auditors payment, which was 24,400.
Any questions or comment by anybody on the board? If not, can we have a motion to pay the bills? If there's no motion, we don't pay the bills.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Ms. Macias?
Yes.
Mr. Diamond?
Yes.
Mr. DeCroce?
Yes, next we're going to our reports from our professionals, township engineer. Good evening, Joe. Anything left in that?
The only thing I have left is, I reported last meeting that we submitted to, DOT for approval of phase 3 of Atstein Road. That was approved throughout the bid, so I will coordinate a bid opening date with Sue tomorrow and.
Awesome.
get it advertised.
How much do you think we're going to get done?
It's about another between a half a mile and 3/4 of a mile, starting in Medford, coming down south.
There's gonna be a big gap in between them again, like past year and then.
Well, we started at the Medford line and coming south in this phase. So yes, there's.
Well, they started down by me and they left all the fun.
We-
They put a skirt where there.
We
was-
got a lot of them, Laura. All right, thank you, Joe.
Yep.
Township Solicitor Doug Heinel, good evening.
Couple things I want to report on. I know each month, everybody, well, there's residents and the governing body would like to hear an update relative to Murphy's Pit and the landfill property and the efforts by Bighorn Solar to turn those into solar fields. Couple of things. As reported previously, we made a lot of progress with Atlantic City Electric this summer. That allowed enough information to Bighorn that they were satisfied to move forward with additional expenditures on the project. They notified us just today that they have gone through the efforts to do what's called safe harboring. These projects as part of their overall New Jersey portfolio. That deadline per the IRS was I guess the beginning of this month. So they have everything in place, which allows them to proceed and be sure that they remain in the program and can finance these projects as they anticipate. It's a business decision, and it allows them to make that business decision moving forward. So that's very good. It's not real local issue, but it's sort of in the big scheme of their project important. They also gave an update on their land use process. They have already submitted to Pinelands on both projects. They have received some response relative to that. They're responding to that. They anticipate being through Pinelands this year, and depending on the timing of that, also will then lead them to be before our joint land use board for site plan approvals relative to the projects. I don't have any new information, but when we spoke previously, their efforts are to take ownership of both the landfill and the Murphy's Pit site. When we talked last, they were talking about the beginning of this coming year. We asked if there's anything they can do to move that timeline up. We would appreciate it if they would do that. Everything's moving in the right direction. This solar process in the world of business is about as slow as things get. There's a lot of government approvals and oversight involved. But I think the fact that they have safe harbored these projects, which means they've actually spent money to show that they're going to do these projects and set those materials. They've essentially bought solar panels that are sitting in a warehouse somewhere to take delivery when they're ready. That to me shows dedication to the project. So we're hopeful, that happens not just because of the solar projects, but because it also eliminates a lot of the ongoing concerns that are associated with Murphy's Pit. The current ownership does not do what it needs to do to secure the site and to prevent trespass. And the residents around that have made it clear that is an ongoing nuisance to them. And we're trying to do everything we can to get a positive use in there that will use up that site, fence it off, and fill it with solar panels so that it's no longer a nuisance to the neighborhood. So that's the Bighorn Solar update. I'll keep, every month I reach out to them and try and get additional information on progress. And as I do, I'll share that information.
Doug, on that, before you leave that subject, I wanted to thank you for setting up the two meetings that we had with Sue and I and you with the Atlantic Electric. And I think that those two meetings help push things along, and I think we're getting closer to where we need to be. So I wanted to thank you for doing that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I thank you and Deputy Mayor Woods for being so instrumental in that too, because I think it's sends an important message when you know, you reach out and are able to have those communications and show that Atlantic City Electric, that the township has an interest, not just financial interest on the part of a private entity. And for those who may not be aware, this project has a lot of benefits. It's sort of like a multiple level win for the township if it all comes to fruition. It solves the Murphy's Pit problem. It should help with community solar, will actually benefit in municipal costs and solar energy. And there is discussion with Bighorn that the excess property that they would acquire, that's forest land behind Murphy's Pit, they really won't have a use for once they're through the approval process. They've talked about dedicating that to the township. That benefits us and could benefit us again financially in the long term because of the way the state pilot program works, where we actually get paid for open space acreage. So again, that's the Bighorn discussion. I just want to add on the Woodgate section. I'm glad that we didn't have any public comment tonight for the first time in several months. That has been a serious problem for the town. I just wanted to add to that our office remains involved in the municipal court process. Steve Raymond Jr. from my office, who's a former county prosecutor, has been in communication with the prosecutor's office to make sure he's updated on any changes to the calendar, so forth. And we're trying to encourage that process to reach a final step. The only other thing I want to report on, and it's not something that I had prepared previously, but there was some comments just about the legal process. So I do want to speak to that. And it's, you know, the municipality has very circumspect reasons as to why it can go into executive session. This township does not go into executive session very often. I don't, just as other speakers don't want to throw Lumberton or Hampton Lakes under the bus, I don't want to throw Tabernacle Township under the bus. Unfortunately, we were put in a position where we had to act quickly. We had understood that Tabernacle was going to act first. That didn't happen. We had to act. We understood that there would be a Tabernacle meeting at the end of August. That didn't happen. And now we're having this meeting tonight. It is what it is. But when we go into executive session, there was a situation 2 months ago where there was an ongoing request relative to fire equipment, a command vehicle. There were people on the governing body who had been part of those conversations, had direct communication with people on the fire company. The other people in the governing body don't have that benefit. Municipalities need to be able to have conversations and make business decisions and not be criticized for one member being quote unquote anti-fire company or pro-fire company and those sorts of things. That's entirely appropriate. We have they are under contract with us under the statute. We recognize them by ordinance as our contracted fire company. We have financial contribution to them. Financial elements are the #1 element to our agreement. So negotiations relative to how much we're going to give the fire company is appropriate for executive session. That's what happened 2 months ago. Again, this past month, the municipality was unfortunately put in the position where we had to take action quickly because of all the moving parts. And I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but it's sort of the process is what it was. In order for Sue and I to give updates to everybody, for those people who had been part of those discussions to update the full governing body, we went into executive session to talk about the issues at hand and the need to move in accordance with the plan as discussed with Hampton Lakes, with Lumberton, and to protect the assets of the municipality and ensure that there was not a disruption of service for EMS coverage. Again, that's entirely appropriate for executive session. That discussion happened. The actual action on the resolution happens in public. Township came out, committee came out of executive session. We acted in public. We can kind of see if there's anybody or hear if there's anybody in the hallway. There wasn't. After we took the action, I think the mayor said something about double checking. We did double check. If there had been somebody standing behind the concrete by themselves, we would have had them come back in and I would have had them retake the action. There's no public comment on resolution. It doesn't mean that we wouldn't have heard from the public necessarily, but they would have had the ability to see the action take place. You know, again, very limited circumstances, and we do operate within the limited exceptions of the Sunshine Law. So I just wanted to address those issues. We rarely implement executive sessions, and I think the record reflects that in this municipality. So,
All right, thank you.
If I touch on the transparency part too.
Go ahead.
I thank you for explaining that, Doug. A lot of people probably aren't unaware that state law says that no more than two of us can talk at a time, or else it officially is quorum. We have to hold a public meeting. So Doug is right. I mean, we do not have many executive sessions, but it is the only time we get to discuss with each other as a group. As far as that, you know, in a past life, I was a journalist back when there was coverage in every town. I've covered north of 50 towns, probably more township meetings, Board of Ed meetings, state meetings, everything. This is the only town I can recall that does not do its resolutions, its ordinances, you name it, in a blanket motion, which means we read every single one by one. Sue has always given updates one by one, what it all means. And we even let the public, outside of public comment, talk about them if they'd like. We never have had a limit on public comment before. So we're really not trying to duck you. Obviously, we try to be as transparent as possible. If there are things we could do better, I think everybody here wants to do it better. And I heard from all of you, it stinks, you know, hearing this, but it's a learning experience. So thank you, everybody, for coming out and letting us know.
All right, with that, we're going to go to the township administrator. We're going to split between Lisa and Sue. Lisa, you start with?
Yes, just a few new items. School started today, so a reminder to be mindful of children and buses. Soliciting permits have been issued to the Indian Mills Volunteer Fire Company for members. That's valid from August 20th to October 10th. It's to benefit a fundraising raffle event. Soliciting by permit only signs have been installed on the Welcome to Shamong signs. And the New Jersey Motor Vehicle Commission mobile unit will be back in Shamong on Wednesday, October 1st. Appointments are open to all New Jersey residents. So if you're not currently on the Civic Alert, please reach out either by phone or by email so we can get you on the Civic Alert, because we're going to send out an alert as soon as we know that the appointments are open, because they get scooped up within an hour or two sometimes.
Thank you. Sue, do you have anything?
Nope, she covered it all for.
Any questions or comments? Okay, we're going to open it up to public comment at this point. Anybody have anything to say that they haven't said? Please come on up and be mindful of your time if you've already spoken. I know you're appalled. I think you used that word several times.
Lack of transparency. In April, it was announced by our county commissioners that Shamong would be receiving $5,000 from the opioid settlement that was agreed, that would continue for 20 years. I would just like to ask you, the mayor, and along with the rest of the committee, what your intentions are in full transparency here, what you intend on doing with that money.
I don't know yet. We'll take it under consideration. I would imagine if we had a drug program that it would go to that. If there's somebody in need in town that has a drug abuse issue, obviously we would use it where it's intended.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else who hasn't spoken?
Deb Uhas, 23 Beach Heath Road. I read that there was that 125,000, but I also saw that there was another 75,000.
There is from a different
Okay,
program.
from a different program?
Yeah,
Okay, and
that'll-
that's also for.
That'll be the subject of the meeting, all 200,000.
Oh, good,
How that been
okay.
spent. Yeah, there's
Okay,
two different
yeah.
grants, two different recreation grants.
Good, I just wanted, thanks.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Hi, good evening.
Hi, Denise Mazzitis, 44 Oriental. So something came up and I just wanted to tell everybody, so my son is an EMT with Lumberton. And for a time period, Lumberton did assist Tabernacle in mutual services. And I wanted everybody to know that what happens is, and what happens at Hainesport, because they have shared services with Hainesport, is when my son is assigned there with his other team member, they essentially sit in an oversized closet, a room with a couple chairs and a table all day long, waiting for calls. So that doesn't mean they're coming from Lumberton, right? It means that when they were in Tabernacle, they sat at Tabernacle. Okay, during the day. So that's, that's an element that I don't think was revealed. Okay, so I think that's important to understand how that works. I mean, I'm a lay person in this too, and I appreciate everything that everyone was said, but I don't think we always understand the lingo. And so sometimes that covers the transparency, if you will. So I think that's important. I was also at the Tabernacle meeting in the fall when they made a presentation to the township. So I heard all of it. And I really think this is an opportunity. I think we're in a conundrum where Tabernacle, by their inaction and not having a meeting, forced your hand. And so that's understandable. It would be really wonderful if we could find some way for the two townships to get together and really fix this so that we all get services. Whether we use Lumberton to help us get over the hump. And I don't understand why, there's some sort of angst between Lumberton. I don't understand it. I don't want anybody vilified, whether it be Tabernacle or Lumberton. So if there's any way the townships can get together to fix it, that would be wonderful. I think it would serve all of us. Like, I don't know, can we light a fire under Tabernacle to say, hello, can we fix this? Because saying for the township Tabernacle to say goodbye to their, squad is not helpful for us either. So let's just make it work. And lastly, because this just came up, thank you for the reminder about the 5,000. I happen to be a drug and alcohol counselor, and I think it's really great to have a speaker come to talk to the kids at the middle school and at the elementary school when you can at their level, but especially at the middle school, because it's not just weed. And it's not just grabbing beers while you're at Murphy's Pit or back in the woods. It's not. Weed is not just weed, and the pills that are going around now are horrible. And I see it every day at work. So having somebody like Chris Herron come talk to the kids, that's $5,000 really well spent.
That's a great suggestion. Thank you.
Thanks.
Please, quick question. Your son is paid. The 6-year-old, is he paid? Yeah. Okay, because.
Well, Tabernacle has paid.
I'm saying the others that are volunteers, they're not sitting there all day. When a call goes out, they go.
Yeah, they go home. They go home.
Yeah.
So my son gets paid,
Yeah.
but, and so if your son wants to get into a program, he did his at, at PCC, make it into the program. You can. I tried for a year.
There's never seats available, so I don't know where you're getting all. If you reach out to me within the next 60. Sorry. I took the shot. If you reach out, I'll try to get to it. There are seats set aside for emergency agencies within the county.
That's like your Virtua takes all the seats.
If you reach out, I'll point you in the right direction. I'll get you the right.
Thank you,
contact.
Carl. All right, good. Well, you guys get together afterwards and you can sort that out. Mr. Ryan, you got one more comment?
Yeah. Problem is, y'all haven't revealed a plan. I actually appreciate your remarks, Ryan, that you considered at least rescinding but you haven't, you have put out there that there's a 90-day, which is now down to almost 60-day closure of this issue. Your partner in this has remained silent. Tabernacle has not had any meetings, any comments, and their mayor is quoted in the paper saying, I am hopeful that we will have a resolution. You are now putting us in a position where they meet next month or next week, they're going to be in a 60-day situation. I guarantee you CMS is not going to start approving some of these places, and the insurance companies don't always move as quickly as you want to license new services. Lumberton's already covered in one area, but they're not going to be listed as the primary provider. You also have to deal with the county. All I'm asking you to do is consider putting this on pause. Get together with Tabernacle. Have a public conversation where everybody can hear it, not in the back room, and don't give me this nonsense, oh, it's a contract. Yeah, it is, but there is a difference between what's legal and what's right for the community. And what's right is that everybody should know. The county needs to be a partner in this. They dispatch. For God's sakes, don't make Tabernacle your masters. You have an opportunity to do it. But you still don't have a plan, do you? Because I'd like to say, just share it.
We've got a plan.
I don't.
Why can't you share it?
Even reveal because we don't have anything finalized.
So you don't have a plan.
I did not say that.
You don't have it finalized, right?
I did not say we don't have a plan. I'm asking if you let me have
Yeah,
a
go ahead.
second, instead of interrupting me, I'm asking our legal counsel what we're permitted to say because things.
Yeah, I don't.
Is there an MOU?
I don't think there's been any secret that that the discussions that were referenced have included Hampton Lakes, Lumberton EMS, and coverage from those entities for Tabernacle and Shamong. Those will require shared service agreements. There have been discussions amongst council to achieve those. I had hoped to have that by tonight from Lumberton's council. We don't. I think it's just because of the time of the year, but we will keep on it. I followed up again today to press the issue, and I anticipate even if we have to have a special meeting, we will. But certainly within the time frame.
Is there an MOU?
It will be a shared service agreement.
So is it drafted? Has there been any? It's
Yes.
great that these,
There-
and there's
there-
been any public input.
There is a draft agreement that is still in draft per the statutes. That's a draft agreement. It's not a public record yet.
And have you included the county?
The county, the county gets notified for dispatch purposes, and we'll defer to the service providers who are going to be covering the area. But that,
Doug, I love you. You're a great attorney.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks.
I know you appreciate that. But the reality is there's a difference between what's legal and what's right and transparent for the public. I'm asking you to be transparent, and I don't think you are.
I am being as transparent as I can be relative to
You're the
present-
attorney, right?
I-
But these folks could also have a public meeting with their counterparts from the other towns. They could only have maybe two of them, right? Two show up so that you don't have a sunshine issue. You could have conversations, but there's been no conversation. And I know for a fact that they haven't talked to the Office of Emergency Management in Tabernacle. I'm just saying, there's too many pieces out there that people are saying, I don't know. And God knows, have you talked to the school board? Because for Seneca to have a football game, you have to have an ambulance. Just saying, please, think about pausing it, have some public conversations.
Thank you for your comments. Anybody else?
Just
Try and limit you. Since
Yep,
you've had
you're
a
good,
chance,
you're
just
good.
limit your time.
So did everyone else that just spoke.
Yes, sir. I'm
Um,
not limiting you.
yep.
I'm saying just be mindful of.
Just by say Carla Vina, Gate Road, I believe it was Miss Mazitis. I don't know where she went. Just one thing, I'm more concerned about the EMS, like, when it comes down to it, it's about the EMTs. She brought up that in Kingsport, her son sits in a closet. I don't know if that's true or how big it is.
Oversized closet.
Okay. Nonetheless, oversized closet. You guys going into a shared service agreement, you guys have the ability to push Tabernacle. With what we were told is they're gonna get put into, it's called a radio room, which is about a
10 by 10 by 12 room. That's what they're giving to them. And then there's now an RFP that was put on an agenda to redo the rest of the building. So if they take over Lumberton, they might be getting put into another oversized closet, which isn't necessarily the best for EMS or the EMTs or the people that are going to be doing that, the people that are going to be serving your residents. The other thing, I had it, I forgot what it was. The other thing that I just want to mention is shared service agreements. It's completely, you're going to know a lot more than me. The township's going into a shared service agreement with other towns that don't have this service. They contract for this service. No one's pushed the envelope on it. But do we really think it's right that a town can go to another town and say, I want to take this other private entity and tell them what to do? Because you guys are going into contract with Tabernacle and you're going in with Southampton and you're going in with Lumberton. None of those towns have an EMS service that's through the township, correct? They don't. So you guys are going into shared service with towns that don't have a service. They have a contract and you guys are going to strong arm these other agencies to say, oh no, you guys got to go to Tabernacle and you guys got to go to Shamong now. You got to run those calls. And even if it's not signed yet, I don't know what's being said back there, but I don't think it's right. You're not going to go to Medford, who has trash collection, and say, you know what? I want to get in a shared service agreement with Republic Trash or whatever trash company it is. Because one, I don't think the trash company would do it. And two, it's just that's the crazy things that the legality comes into it.
Good, thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else have any questions or comments? Okay, we're going to close this portion of the public meeting and ask for a motion to dismiss.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Ms. Mazitis?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkinson?
Yes.
Mr. Diamond?
Yes.
Mr. DeCroce?
Yes, thank you all for coming out. We appreciate you.